Chapter 5505. Hearing Meng Ji Yao's exclamation, Lin Feng hurriedly turned his head to look. He immediately sucked in a breath of cold air. He saw that the female corpses had actually opened their eyes, and then their bodies slowly floated up. Before, although they were corpses, they still gave people the impression that they were very beautiful. But now, they had changed. Now, their eyes had turned scarlet, and their bodies had lost all luster. Their hair had even turned black, and their ears, noses, and mouths were all bleeding. Their tongues were sticking out. Their tongues were 1/2 meter long. Their nails were also rapidly growing, and in the blink of an eye, they had grown to nearly 1 meter long. In addition, these female corpses were emitting a disgusting stench. It was really too disgusting. These female corpses had all transformed. Lin Feng didn't know what had caused the female corpses to mutate, but after they had mutated, they looked extremely evil. A group of female corpses also pounced on Lin Feng and Meng Ji Yao. "Hurry up and undo my seal. I can help you," Meng Ji Yao continued. This little girl still didn't give up and still wanted Lin Feng to undo her seal. Lin Feng said, "Protecting women is what a man should do." As his voice fell, Lin Feng summoned the Book of the Undead. At this moment, it was a great opportunity to collect these undead. Lin Feng felt that these female corpses weren't simple. Perhaps they weren't that strong when they were alive, but after countless years of death, they had changed. These female corpses had all undergone special changes, so their current strength was many times stronger than before. Lin Feng wasn't interested in ordinary undead creatures, but the female corpses had aroused Lin Feng's interest. After all, they were really powerful. Lin Feng checked a total of 15 female corpses. Although he didn't know what level they were, Lin Feng felt that their cultivation should have reached the Saint Realm. Undead creatures of this level were qualified to be collected by Lin Feng in the Book of the Undead. After the Book of the Undead was summoned, Yan appeared. As the Book of the Undead devoured a large number of undead, Yan's strength greatly increased. Facing the 15 female corpses that were charging at him, Yan's voice echoed throughout the hall. "You lowly undead, kneel down and repent for your crimes to my great master, Lin Feng. Then, submit to the great master. That's the only way to wash away the sins you've committed all these years." After Yan's voice fell, a large amount of undead energy surged out of the Book of the Dead. The power of the dead enveloped the 15 female corpses. Roar. The female corpses began to struggle and let out deep roars. What surprised Lin Feng was that the undead energy surging out of the Book of the Dead wasn't able to subdue the female corpses. Instead, the undead energy was being devoured by the female corpse. The female corpse devoured the power of the undead. The female corpse's aura continued to increase, and the undead energy suppression on the female corpse became weaker and weaker. This scene shocked Lin Feng. The undead energy had actually become a supplement for the female corpses. It wasn't that the undead energy wasn't strong enough, but that these female corpses were too strange. "Yin, use your ultimate move," Lin Feng said in a deep voice. Now that he was dealing with the most powerful god, he couldn't make any mistakes with the group of female corpses. Otherwise, there would be a big problem. Lin Feng didn't want to die tragically under the attacks of the female corpses.
"Yes,"
Yin hurriedly replied. Lin Feng didn't seem too happy, so Yin didn't dare to be negligent. Yin shot out rays of deathlight. The rays of deathlight poured into the Book of the Dead. Many of the runes on the Book of the Dead were awakened at this moment. Those runes, they were emitting waves of terrifying fluctuations. Each rune was mysterious and unfathomable. The Book of the Dead was rapidly growing in size. Then, the 15 female corpses were enveloped in it. Whoosh! A thick beam of light shot out from the inside of the Book of the Dead. That thick beam of light enveloped all the female corpses. Moreover, the runes danced in the beam of light. Those runes flew towards the female corpses. Then, they imprinted themselves on the female corpses. Roar! The female corpses seemed to be in great pain. They kept roaring and struggling. The runes had a great effect on the female corpses. In the end, the female corpses gave up struggling. Their expressions became serene. "Submit, lowly undead creatures." Yan's voice sounded again. We are willing to submit. The 15 female corpses said at the same time. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Then, the 15 female corpses were collected by the Book of the Dead. Meng Jiyao was completely dumbfounded when she saw this scene. Those terrifying 15 female corpses were subdued just like that. In other words, Lin Feng suddenly had 15 Sage Realm subordinates? Wasn't this too abnormal? That Book of the Dead was too terrifying, wasn't it? It really made people envious. Meng Jiyao had always felt that she was a person with many fortuitous encounters. She had encountered all kinds of great opportunities. She had never been jealous of anyone. But now, she was too jealous of Lin Feng. She really wanted to snatch Lin Feng's Book of the Dead and take it for herself. At this time, Yin controlled the Book of the Dead to fly towards the Yin God. He wanted to help Lin Feng deal with the Yin God. Strictly speaking, the Yin God was naturally a type of undead creature. As long as it was an undead creature, it would be restrained by the Book of the Dead. Therefore, the Yin God could also be absorbed into the Book of the Dead. However, this Yin God was indeed powerful. Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords could restrain the Yin God, but they couldn't take it down. But after Yin joined in, the situation was different. The Book of the Dead flew above the Yin God and shot out a beam of light, enveloping the Yin God. At the same time, Lin Feng's 36 bamboo swords also launched a fierce attack on the Yin God. The Yin God was besieged and the situation was not good, especially those runes that flew out from the Book of the Dead and entered the Yin God's body. The Yin God's power was greatly weakened. Finally, the Yin God was sealed by Lin Feng with the 8 God-forbidding seals. Let go of me! The Yin God roared angrily and began to struggle. Crack, crack. Lin Feng's sealing runes began to break. Lin Feng said in a deep voice, Yin, quickly subdue the Yin God. Yin knew that the Yin God was not easy to deal with, so he personally flew to the Yin God's side and slapped the Yin God's head 3 times. Bang, bang, bang. The 3 slaps landed. In an instant, the Yin God stopped struggling. Master. Then, the Yin God kowtowed to Lin Feng. This terrifying Yin God was also subdued. Chapter 5506. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng had subdued 16 terrifying existences. Meng Jiyao didn't know what to say anymore. Other than smiling bitterly, being envious, and jealous, what else could she think? The Yin God has its own thoughts, so we can ask it some questions, Meng Jiyao said. Lin Feng nodded. He did have some questions that he wanted to ask the Yin God. Lin Feng said, Get up and talk? Yes, Master. The Yin God hurriedly replied. It then got up. Lin Feng asked, Who were you when you were alive? The Yin God sighed and said, I'm sorry, Master. I can't remember who I was when I was alive. My memories have basically been lost. It was common for the Yin God to lose their memories. Therefore, it wasn't a pity to encounter such a situation. Since the Yin God had lost his memories, some things from his previous life, Lin Feng didn't intend to ask, because even if he did, he wouldn't be able to get anything out of it. Since that was the case, why waste time? What else is there inside? Lin Feng asked. He was most concerned about the things inside, but Lin Feng didn't know what exactly was inside. Perhaps the Yin God would know. The Yin God smiled bitterly and said, Master, I really don't know what's inside because I've been imprisoned and can only wander between the first and second palaces. Is the female corpse the same? She can only wander between the first and second palaces? Lin Feng asked curiously. That's right. The Yin God nodded. Lin Feng was a little disappointed because he wouldn't be able to get much useful information from the Yin God. Lin Feng let the Yin God return to the Book of the Dead. He put away the Book of the Dead. Meng Jiyao looked into the depths and said, I feel that there's a great danger waiting for us inside, so let's leave. There's no need to continue taking risks. If we continue, we might really die inside. We don't lack opportunities, so there's no need to put ourselves in danger. After hearing Meng Jiyao's words, Lin Feng just smiled inwardly. Meng Jiyao's words were indeed quite reasonable. However, Lin Feng didn't intend to leave. It was understandable that Meng Jiyao didn't want to go in. After all, she didn't want to put herself in danger and not get any benefits at the same time. However, it wasn't the time for her to make such a decision. Lin Feng said, "The more dangerous the place, the more, of course, the more extraordinary opportunities are waiting for us. I already have 56 sage-level undead. Of course, the most importantly, my Book of the Dead be able to restrain the undead, so there's no need to worry. Let's go. Let's continue looking for opportunities." Hearing Lin Feng's words, Meng Jiyao really had the impulse to slap Lin Feng to death. "That's your opportunity, okay? What does it have to do with me? I'm taking a great risk to go in with you, but I won't get anything. I still have to worry about you 100 times. My heart is really tired." However, there's a saying that life is like rape. Since you can't resist, you can slowly enjoy it. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao continued to walk inside. Then, Meng Jiyao once again hugged Lin Feng's arm. Meng Jiyao was worthy of being called a top-grade beauty. The body fragrance from her body was very pleasant. Their footsteps echoed in the corridor. Fortunately, there was no danger, and they successfully entered the third hall. When they arrived at the third hall, Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao couldn't help but frown slightly. They saw several cultivator corpses here. These cultivator corpses were quite special. They were all cut in half at the waist. Then, their internal organs, even their intestines, were dug out and casually thrown on the ground. It was really too bloody, even though Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao were very experienced and knowledgeable. After seeing this scene, they couldn't help but feel nauseous. Who did this? How can it be so bloody? Lin Feng frowned. Unless there's a deep hatred, there's no need to do this to other people's corpses, right? Meng Jiyao said. Lin Feng felt that Meng Jiyao's words made sense. Lin Feng thought of the nature of this hall. It was originally a sacred palace, but it had turned into a demon palace. Lin Feng said, "Could it be that demon's doing?" "Perhaps it's possible." Meng Jiyao said, "If this speculation is correct, then what happened back then? Why did that demon go so crazy?" Lin Feng couldn't help but wonder. Meng Jiyao said, "Isn't this hall called the Sacred Palace of Ice? Judging from the name, the master of this hall should be a woman, right? Could it be that the demon's courtship failed, so it killed everyone here?" "Perhaps it's possible. The answer might very well be in the deeper parts of this hall," Lin Feng said. He and Meng Jiyao walked deeper inside. This time, Lin Feng put his arm around Meng Jiyao's waist. This small waist, it really was the waist of an ant. It was so small that it could be grasped with one hand. "Let go of me." Meng Jiyao blushed and struggled gently. Lin Feng said, "Aren't you holding my arm because you're worried that I'll push you out when there's danger? I'm holding your waist right now. It's to make you feel at ease. Even if there's danger, I won't push you out." Meng Jiyao felt that Lin Feng's words weren't trustworthy at all. They were just excuses to take advantage of her. However, she had already endured so many things. So what if she endured a bit more? Besides, she really did need Lin Feng's protection right now. So Meng Jiyao didn't say anything. Lin Feng was overjoyed. As expected of a top-grade beauty, the feeling of holding her in his arms was really different. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao arrived at the fourth hall. When they arrived, they saw a headless corpse. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao continued to walk deeper. After passing through the corridor, they arrived at the fifth hall. This was the last hall. In the fifth hall, they saw a white jade bed. What surprised Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao was that there was a woman lying on the white jade bed. It was a woman wearing a white dress. Her figure was so graceful and enchanting. Her face was so beautiful and moving. She was so beautiful that it was suffocating. She was lying there like a sleeping beauty. However, the truth was that the woman was no longer breathing. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5508. That woman. Meng Jiyao looked at the beautiful woman and couldn't help but frown. Lin Feng asked, "What's wrong? Do you see something strange about her?" Meng Jiyao said, "That woman isn't as pretty as me, and her figure isn't as good as mine." Lin Feng choked on his saliva. He had thought that Meng Jiyao had seen something special about the woman. Who would have thought that she would say something like that? A woman? When he saw another woman, did he have to compare their figures and faces to see which one of them was prettier? Women were really strange creatures. Sometimes, it was hard to understand what they were thinking. said Lin Feng. Everybody has their own merits, said Lin Feng. You have a problem with your eyes. Meng Yao snorted. Lin Feng smiled and said, but I like you better. Why don't we find a place to have some fun? Shameless. Meng Yao rolled her eyes at Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel apprehensive. Was this woman trying to seduce him? She must be. She must be. Why do you keep looking at me? Go and see if there's anything strange about that corpse, Meng Yao said. Lin Feng retracted his gaze and smiled. He walked towards the corpse. Although she had been dead for many years, she was still in good condition. Lin Feng took off her storage ring. He tried to use his divine will to check if the storage ring was damaged. It would be even better if it wasn't. However, Lin Feng's divine sense was blocked. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Usually, when the owner of the ring died, other people's godly awareness could invade the ring. Why couldn't his divine sense enter the ring? What's wrong? Meng Yao saw Lin Feng's puzzled expression and looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, my divine sense can't enter the ring. There's such a thing? Meng Yao was very confused. She then asked, is there something wrong with the female corpse? Lin Feng couldn't help but nod. He also had this feeling that something was wrong with the female corpse. At this time, Lin Feng suddenly heard the heartbeat of the female corpse. This gave him a huge shock. One had to know that undead creatures such as zombies, corpses, spirits, and other existences did not have heartbeats. Because they were undead, not living beings. What kind of existence had a heartbeat? Only living creatures had heartbeats. The female corpse had clearly lost all signs of life before, but now there was the sound of a heartbeat. It was indeed very strange. Lin Feng looked at the female corpse in surprise. At the same time, he distanced himself from the female corpse in case something terrible happened. How strange. How long has he been dead? Can he come back to life? Meng Yao asked doubtfully. If the female corpse had turned into an undead creature, Lin Feng and Meng Yao wouldn't have found it too strange. After all, they had seen more than 10 beautiful female corpses turn into undead creatures before. Therefore, it was normal for this female corpse to turn into an undead creature. However, this female corpse didn't turn into an undead creature. She seemed to be coming back to life. This was very strange. Without any external help, could she really come back to life? Her eyelashes are moving, Lin Feng said. Meng Yao also saw that the female corpse's eyelashes were indeed moving. The female corpse was really coming back to life. Time is long. The cycle of reincarnation has reversed. Thousands of years have passed, and I have awakened from death. At this time, a voice suddenly sounded. The female corpse actually spoke. After speaking, the female corpse opened her eyes. She had really come back to life. It was as if he had seen a ghost. The woman sat up. She had a pair of watery eyes, which were very charming and charming. Her gaze seemed to contain a myriad of emotions. When he saw the female corpse's eyes, Lin Feng suddenly felt his heart throbbing. It was as if a dam had shown signs of breaking. How could it be so strange? Lin Feng hurriedly calmed his mind. This female corpse was too scary. You took my ring. The female corpse looked at Lin Feng and said, here you go. Lin Feng didn't go over. It was better to guard against the female corpse. He threw the ring to the female corpse. The female corpse took the ring and put it on her finger. Thank you. The female corpse said, you're welcome. Lin Feng smiled. The female corpse sighed and said, I didn't expect that after so many years, everything here would still be the same. Nothing has changed. Are you the master of this palace? Lin Feng asked. Yes, I am the master of this palace. The female corpse nodded. Then she continued, I am the third ice goddess. The third ice goddess? Lin Feng and Meng Yao were very surprised. This female corpse was a titled god. Her background was quite impressive. A titled god had actually been resurrected. That was inconceivable. Lin Feng asked, what happened back then? The ice goddess sighed and said, it's a long story. Back then, there was an extremely powerful cultivator of the Tao of demons who was very fond of me, but I only treated him as a friend. He wasn't a bad person, but one day, for some reason, he went crazy. He came to the holy palace of ice again and asked me to love him, but I rejected him. At that time, there were still some friends and disciples present. After I rejected him, he went on a killing spree and killed many people. I was seriously injured in the battle and was placed here. I thought I was going to die. But today, I woke up. As for what happened after I fell asleep, I don't know. I don't know what happened to my friends either. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He had the feeling that there was something wrong with what the ice goddess was saying, but Lin Feng couldn't put his finger on it. Lin Feng glanced at Meng Jiyao. He saw that Meng Jiyao was also frowning. Could it be that she also felt that there was something wrong with what the ice goddess was saying? Lin Feng said, "Your friends are all dead." I knew it would be like that. The ice goddess revealed an extremely sorrowful expression. Tap, tap, tap. At that moment, footsteps came from the corridor. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. It seemed that something was coming from the outside of the fifth palace. When they heard the footsteps, Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao's expressions changed slightly. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 5509. What kind of footsteps are those? Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. He and Meng Jiyao had only reached the fifth palace after passing through the fourth palace. They had only encountered danger when they had encountered the Yin god and the female corpse. The rest of the time, there had been no danger. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao hadn't sensed any danger even when they had seen the destroyed corpses and the headless corpse. Now, the footsteps were heard. It was really strange. He's here. It must be him. I remember his voice. He's still here. Is he still alive? The snow goddess couldn't believe it. Lin Feng was very surprised. That was because he knew who the snow goddess was referring to when she spoke of him. It had to be that devil. The mysterious and powerful devil who had killed everyone in a frenzy. Lin Feng was very confused. He hadn't seen that guy before. Where had he been hiding? Or was he hiding in a room somewhere? Every palace had some rooms apart from the main hall. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao didn't open those rooms. Those rooms were indeed capable of hiding people. This is really troublesome. We won't die here, will we? Meng Jiyao's face was pale. How terrifying had that devil been in the past been? Countless years had passed, so he must have become unimaginably strong. Dying at the hands of that devil didn't seem too surprising. Meng Jiyao was worried, and so was Lin Feng. Said Lin Feng to Meng Jiyao, "If you die later, won't you regret that you haven't done it with me 100 times? 100 times, and you'll die so early. I just want to bite you to death." Meng Jiyao didn't give Lin Feng a good look. At that moment, a large amount of devil qi poured in from the passage, filling the fifth palace. The footsteps were getting closer and closer. Lin Feng's expression became more and more serious when he heard the approaching footsteps. Those footsteps weren't just simple footsteps. They also contained a terrifying power. If there was a specific word to describe this power, it would be terrifying. It was demonic power. This kind of demonic power gave people a feeling of fear and trepidation. No one could resist this demonic power. Not much. That terrifying existence had finally arrived. Lin Feng looked over. He looked surprised, because this terrifying existence was actually the headless corpse that Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao had seen in the fourth palace. Was it that devil? At this moment, a huge axe appeared in his hand. The giant axe was shrouded in bloody light. After the headless corpse appeared, it immediately swung its axe at the snow goddess on the white jade bed. Countless years have passed, and so many people have died. Can't you let go of your past obsession? As long as you focus on doing good, you'll definitely be able to transcend after death. The snow goddess quickly dashed out, dodging the axe that was coming at her. Without his head, he seemed to be unable to speak. He continued to swing the axe in his hand. He slashed at the ice goddess. At this time, an ice god sword appeared in the snow goddess' hand. With the ice frost divine sword in her hand, she faced the headless corpse's giant axe. Clang! The two attacks collided fiercely, and an earth-shattering sound of impact was heard. Then, both sides quickly retreated. At this time, the headless corpse raised the axe with both hands. Terrifying magic power continuously poured into the axe, and the fluctuations became more and more intense. It was obvious that he was preparing an extremely terrifying technique. The snow goddess said coldly, stubborn, I can only disregard our old friendship and send you to the 18th level of hell. The snow goddess' magic power also continuously poured into her ice god sword. The headless corpse held the axe in his hand. Once again, he slashed at the snow goddess. Slash. The snow goddess' voice was cold. Her sword slashed at the headless corpse. The axe and sword collided once again. Both sides formed a huge and terrifying aura, and then the two auras reached a stalemate. No one could do anything to the other. Prince, hurry up and help me kill the headless corpse. Otherwise, we'll all die here, said Lin Feng, shaking his head. The snow goddess looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, Okay, I am happy to serve the goddess. Lin Feng took out the epic war spear. He held it in his hand and rushed towards the two who were in a stalemate. Die. Lin Feng waved the epic war spear and swept it at the headless corpse. But the epic war spear did not hurt the headless corpse. Instead, it swept past the headless corpse and swept towards the snow goddess. This sudden change of events. The snow goddess was caught off guard. The snow goddess quickly dodged. However, she still could not completely avoid Lin Feng's attack. Pooh! A spear light tore a huge wound in the snow goddess' abdomen. The snow goddess' body flew backwards. Why? Why? Why did you attack me? Killing intent appeared in the eyes of the snow goddess. She was enraged. She was completely enraged. She felt that everything was so perfect. Why did Lin Feng attack her? If my guess is correct, the one who caused all this is not the headless senior, but you? Lin Feng sneered. Why do you say that? The snow goddess' eyes were filled with killing intent. At first, I wasn't sure, but from some of your words, I sensed something strange. But even so, I did not suspect you. It was only when the headless senior came that I realized your flaw. First of all, you said that the headless senior caused all this, and you said that he was completely crazy and wanted to kill. But when the headless senior came, he did not attack me or Meng Jiyao. If he really is the kind of person you said, why didn't he attack us? Time has calmed him down. He is no longer as crazy as before, said the snow goddess. Lin Feng sneered and said, Is that so? I agree with you for now, but I still see other suspicious points. For example, after the headless senior came, he directly attacked you. Why did he do that? I remember you said that he loved you very much and pursued you for a long time. I don't know how he went crazy. If he wakes up after countless years, will he repent for his actions? I think he will. If it was any other man who unknowingly hurt the woman he loves, he will repent for his mistakes and not directly attack the woman he loves. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55:10. The snow goddess' expression darkened, but she didn't say anything else. Perhaps she didn't want to refute Lin Feng's words anymore. Lin Feng continued, There's also something else that has aroused my suspicions. The snow goddess looked at Lin Feng. She couldn't think of anything else that could arouse Lin Feng's suspicions. Lin Feng said, The fifth palace is too clean. The battle back then was so fierce, so why didn't it affect the fifth palace? I think that's a suspicious point. Of course, if Senior Headless was killed, and the person who killed him died right after, then it's possible that the fifth palace wouldn't have been affected. But on the way here, we've seen some incomplete corpses, so I don't think it was those people who killed Senior Headless. Since it wasn't them, then it must be someone else. I've been wondering if the person who killed Senior Headless had passed away in meditation in another room. Now that I think about it, that's really possible. However, I like to look at things as a whole. If I look at the third suspicion and the first two suspicions together, then it seems that I can eliminate a lot of things, and it can also make me more certain of some things. Thus, I conclude that the culprit behind all of this is actually you, and not the demon you mentioned. Wonderful. Truly wonderful. I have to say, your conjecture, it's really wonderful, said the snow goddess. Thank you for your praise. Lin Feng smiled. I didn't want to do this. Back then, they were all my good friends, but I couldn't control myself. Do you know why I couldn't control myself? Asked the snow goddess. Lin Feng shook his head. Meng Jiyao shook her head as well. The snow goddess sighed. Someone planted a demon in me. Hearing that, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. Meng Jiao came from an extraordinary background, so she obviously knew what it meant. Thus, when she heard the snow goddess say that, she was very shocked. Lin Feng asked, "Who planted a demon in you?" The snow goddess replied, "I don't know, but I was inexplicably infected by a seed demon. I couldn't control my body, so I wanted to kill. First, I killed the people around me, then I killed the others. I used all kinds of methods to kill them. For example, I had some friends. I cut them in half, then I pulled out their intestines and organs. Isn't it crazy? But the crazier it is, the more comfortable I feel. And many of my fellow disciples. The women in the holy palace of ice and snow are pure and holy, so I used a seductive technique to control them. I couldn't let them die easily. I want them to die a humiliating death. They're crazy. They're taking from each other. Do you know what they look like when they wake up? They're practically going crazy. Their bodies are pure and flawless. Their personalities are pure and flawless. And their fellow disciples who get along with each other day and night. How can they accept such a filthy thing happening to so many of them? But I kept torturing them, making them fall into the abyss step by step. Finally, one of them couldn't take it anymore and broke her own heart. After hearing the snow goddess, Lin Feng was speechless. He finally understood what was going on with the corpses. The reason why the corpses were disheveled was because of the snow goddess. This woman was really evil. "Where's the headless corpse?" asked Lin Feng. "It's him. It's all his fault. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be trapped here." The corpse's eyes were filled with killing intent. "That person used to be one of my best friends, and the first person I killed," said Lin Feng. "Back then, he didn't know I was infected by a seed demon. I told him I had something to discuss with him, and he didn't suspect me. I cut off his head when he wasn't prepared at all," said Lin Feng. "But his head didn't die, and his soul didn't perish. So, I destroyed his head. He was the strongest of them all. After he was killed, the others were no longer a threat," said Lin Feng, shaking his head. "But I didn't think that before he died, he would curse himself. His body was corroded by the power of the curse, and he came back to life. He wanted to kill me. During the battle, I was cursed by him. Every 10 million years, I would wake up, and he would wake up as well. When I woke up, I would leave the fifth palace and try to leave the palace. He would try to stop me, but after so many years, we still haven't won. And I haven't been able to leave either," said Lin Feng. "This time, it's a cycle of 10 million years. After you appeared, I woke up ahead of time. But because I woke up ahead of time, and because of the power of the curse, my strength wasn't fully recovered. I wanted to gain your trust and then attack you by surprise. After I killed you, I wanted to eat your flesh and drink your blood. I could feel that if I ate your flesh and blood, my strength would increase tremendously. But who would have thought that this guy would wake up ahead of time and ruin my plan?" Speaking of this, the ice goddess was flustered and exasperated. Her eyes were filled with killing intent. His eyes flashed with killing intent. She was furious. She wanted to kill everyone. "Now, prepare to die," said Lin Feng. Smiling coldly. "Killing you is a blessing to the world." "Kill me? Why? Because of you? Ridiculous," said the ice goddess mockingly. Obviously, she didn't care about Lin Feng and Meng Jiao. Lin Feng noticed the wound on the ice goddess' abdomen. In fact, he had even fully recovered. Her recuperative ability was truly terrifying. But so what? Lin Feng had a lot of fresh troops here. Lin Feng waved his hand, and the Book of the Undead flew out. Then, 56 undead flew out. After seeing so many undead, the ice goddess's face suddenly became extremely ugly. Although she was very strong, Lin Feng had the headless corpse as the main fighting force, coupled with the help of so many powerful undead creatures. How could the ice goddess be a match for so many people? Despicable and shameless. An unfair victory. The ice goddess said these words coldly. "To deal with an evil existence like you, any method is fair and square," Lin Feng said with a sneer. Then, he looked at the headless corpse and said, "Senior, let's work together to kill her. lest she go out in the future and collude with the creatures of the world behind the scenes to bring disaster to the world. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 5511. The headless corpse could no longer speak. However, he was using his actions to tell Lin Feng what his plan was. The headless corpse wielded a huge axe and rushed towards the ice goddess. The axe in his hand flickered with a cold light. It was truly terrifying. Lin Feng ordered the 56 undead to attack the ice goddess. In fact, Lin Feng didn't like killing such a beautiful woman. The ice goddess was too beautiful, and it would be a pity to kill her. However, the ice goddess had been planted with a demon. Once she was planted with a demon, she would completely lose herself. Such a person naturally couldn't be left alive, because if he continued to stay, he would definitely become a pawn of the mastermind behind the scenes. Only the mastermind behind the scenes knows how to plant demons. Lin Feng also participated in the battle against the ice goddess. Because Meng Jiyao's magic power was sealed, she could only watch from the outside. It was impossible for her to participate in this battle. Just as Lin Feng and the others were about to attack, the ice goddess took out a defensive treasure. It was a defensive treasure that looked like a metal ball. It was unknown what kind of treasure it was, but it released a dazzling golden light. The golden light formed a huge energy shield. The energy barrier protected the snow goddess within. Bang, bang, bang. When all kinds of attacks came, they were all blocked by the energy shield. Lin Feng sneered, "Ice goddess, so what if you have a powerful defensive treasure? Your defensive treasures won't be able to last long." Lin Feng was quite confident in breaking through the ice goddess's defensive treasure. He believed that it wouldn't be long before he could destroy the ice goddess's defensive treasure. When that time came, the ice goddess would die. The ice goddess said coldly, "It's not me who will die, it's you who will die. Are you talking in your sleep?" Lin Feng said sarcastically. The snow goddess sneered and said, "I can communicate with the mastermind, but I haven't done so before. That's because once I communicate with the mastermind, I will become their slave. If I don't communicate with the mastermind, I can still live happily and freely for a period of time. But now, I understand. So what if I become the mastermind's slave? Becoming strong is the most important thing. Everything else is secondary. Once I contact the mastermind, you'll all die." As soon as she finished speaking, the ice goddess began to chant an incantation. Her voice was extremely soft. Therefore, he couldn't hear her incantation at all. Lin Feng didn't care about the incantation she was chanting. Lin Feng only knew that the current situation was quite bad, and he had to quickly break the defensive barrier. The mastermind behind the interruption of the ice goddess communication. Otherwise, the situation would be extremely bad. Lin Feng and the others' attacks were getting stronger and stronger. Bang! Finally, the defensive barrier was completely destroyed by Lin Feng and the others. Seeing that the defensive barrier was destroyed, Lin Feng immediately showed a happy expression. The ice goddess expression couldn't help but change slightly. She hadn't been able to communicate with the mastermind yet. Lin Feng, the headless corpse, and the 56 undead were already rushing towards her. Even if I haven't been able to communicate with the mastermind, I can already borrow a part of his power, so I'm not afraid of you. As soon as she finished speaking, the ice goddess continuously changed her incantation. Then, a large amount of black fog came out of her body. This black fog was really terrifying. It emitted a gloomy and terrifying aura. That kind of aura made people's hearts palpitate. The black fog fused with the ice goddess, and the ice goddess aura became many times stronger than before. She swept out her sword. A thick sword light suddenly flew out and swept towards Lin Feng and the others. Lin Feng, the headless corpse, and the 56 undead blocked the sword light's attack one after another. They joined forces and barely blocked the sword light's attack, but they were still sent flying. So abnormal. Lin Feng's expression became ugly. So many of them joined forces, but they were still sent flying by the ice goddess. The ice goddess was really too terrifying. The situation seemed to be a bit dangerous. "I'm invincible." The ice goddess suddenly laughed proudly. Just as she finished speaking, the next moment, a cold light It directly pierced through the ice goddess' chest. That cold light had suddenly appeared from behind. It pierced through the ice goddess' chest from behind, so the cold light flew out from the front of the ice goddess. What is that? Lin Feng was surprised. You're the thing. Your whole family are things. At this time, the cold light stopped and angrily looked at Lin Feng and said, Lin Feng was finally able to see clearly what that cold light was. It was actually a black bug. It looked a bit like a black beetle. It was too strong. Lin Feng didn't know that there was such an existence hibernating here. The ice goddess obviously didn't know that there was such an existence hibernating here, or she would have been on guard. Of course, strictly speaking, this black beetle was no longer a black beetle, but an undead that it had turned into. Black beetle's corpse chi was very heavy, like that of an insect zombie. It's you. After seeing Black Beetle, the ice goddess face revealed an expression of disbelief. Black Beetle said, Hee hee, that's right, it's me. You didn't expect it, did you? I actually turned into an undead too. You're also a friend of the ice goddess? Lin Feng asked in surprise. Black Beetle said before, I wasn't qualified to be her friend. Then what's your background? Lin Feng asked. Black Beetle said, back then, I had just started cultivating beast chi, but my cultivation was limited. I almost froze to death in the ice and snow, but the ice goddess saw me. She said that even ants have the right to live. Even a bug should be treated kindly. So she saved me. After that, I cultivated in the holy palace of ice. But after the ice goddess demonized, I was killed by her. After a long time, under the nourishment of the curse of the headless corpse, I turned into an undead. Actually, I really didn't want to deal with the ice goddess. After all, in my previous life, the ice goddess saved me. But after she killed me, we were even. Now, I want to kill you because you've become a pawn of the mastermind. Even though I'm just an insect, I don't want to see the myriad worlds plunged into misery and suffering. Hearing Black Beetle's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. Black Beetle's awareness was really high. A small bug like him actually cared about the common people. How admirable. Genius. 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55:12. Lin Feng felt like he had to improve his thinking and self-awareness. After all, his awareness couldn't compare to that of a bug. How could it be justified? Hee hee, what you're saying is just pompous. You've all turned into undead creatures, so you want to change the current situation. Undead creatures are miserable. They live in pain. But if you can save people or make great contributions to the universe, you'll be blessed with luck. That way, you'll be able to get rid of your status as undead creatures, said Lin Feng. The snow goddess sneered. Black Beetle said, I don't deny what you're saying. Since you don't deny it, I'll point you in the right direction. Join the mastermind, and you can also be reborn. Hee hee. Black Beetle sneered. Black Beetle sneered. Although we want to be reborn, we also want to save the innocent. Why would we work with the mastermind? Do you think others will be grateful to you? You're just a bug. Do you think you can become a hero just because you have some cultivation? What a joke. The snow goddess sneered. Black Beetle said, I've never wanted to be a hero. I just remember what you said to me back then. Even ants have the right to live. Even if it's just a bug, it should be treated well. Since even ants and bugs have the right to live, what about the countless intelligent creatures? Shut up, the snow goddess said coldly. Black Beetle didn't shut up. He continued, whether I'm alive or dead, I won't forget what you said. Lin Feng said, the person who said those words back then threw them to the back of his mind, abandoning his dignity and soul. But those who heard them treated them as life's motto. Senior Black Beetle, I really admire you. The snow goddess is no longer the snow goddess of the past. Let's kill her while she's injured to prevent future troubles. All right, let's do it, Black Beetle said. He didn't want to wait any longer. Lin Feng, Black Beetle, the headless corpse, and the 56 undead creatures attacked the snow goddess again. At that moment, the snow goddess let out a sinister laugh. I'm already a slave of the mastermind. How can you kill me? As soon as she finished speaking, she began to pray, Great mastermind, please take me away. My soul belongs to you. At that moment, Lin Feng and the others arrived. Just as they were about to kill the snow goddess, a terrifying beam of light shone down from the sky. Lin Feng's expression changed when he sensed the terrifying power of the beam of light. He felt his blood begin to circulate rapidly. That meant that the situation was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng knew that the black light was extremely dangerous. He couldn't touch the black light, otherwise, he would die under the attack of the black light. "Retreat," said Lin Feng in a deep voice. He immediately moved backwards. At the same time, Black Beetle, the headless corpse, and the 56 undead creatures. The beam, s. Then, the ice goddess disappeared without a trace. Damn it, she got away. Lin Feng's expression darkened. Letting the snow goddess get away wasn't a good thing. But what was done couldn't be undone. There was nothing he could do. "Let's go and see if the seal has been loosened," said Black Beetle at that moment. He and the headless corpse quickly flew outside. Lin Feng sent the 56 undead creatures into the Book of the Dead, then put it away. "Let's go and take a look." Lin Feng looked at Meng Jiyao. "All right." Meng Jiyao nodded. They followed Black Beetle and the headless corpse into the corridor. The corridors of the Ice Palace were arranged in a square pattern. In other words, there were actually 4 corridors. There was a corridor in the north, south, east, and west. The western corridor was connected to the 5th palace. After exiting the 5th palace, they arrived at the western corridor. Black Beetle and the headless corpse turned into the corridor on the left, then the corridor on the right. There were many rooms on both sides. At that moment, they stopped in front of one of the rooms. Even though many years had passed, the restrictions on the room still hadn't disappeared. "What's sealed inside?" asked Lin Feng curiously. "The celestial world's essence is sealed inside," said Black Beetle. "The celestial world's essence? Could it be that the celestial world's essence was born?" Lin Feng's eyes lit up. If that was the case, it would be heaven-defying. If he refined the celestial world's essence, his cultivation would definitely increase greatly. Lin Feng was naturally very interested in the celestial world's essence. "Right," said Black Beetle. Black Beetle and the headless corpse began to attack the restrictions. They wanted to break the restrictions, but the restrictions were too powerful. They couldn't break them. Who set up these restrictions? How could they be so strong? Lin Feng couldn't help but be shocked. Naturally, it's the Ice Goddess seal. She's extremely skilled in formations and restrictions. I don't know how she got the celestial world's essence, but no matter how she got it, it's going to belong to us today," said Black Beetle. Black Beetle and the headless corpse continued to attack the restrictions. However, restrictions were different from defensive barriers produced by treasures. Restrictions were formed by countless runes gathered together, and they contained an intricate structure. Breaking these restrictions was a very difficult task. It was even more difficult to break them with brute force. Therefore, even though Black Beetle and the headless corpse were very strong, they couldn't break the restrictions. Lin Feng said, "I can help everyone enter. Regardless of the celestial world's essence inside, we'll split it into 3, 1 for each of us." "You have a way?" Black Beetle was surprised. "Of course." Lin Feng nodded. Black Beetle muttered a few words in front of the headless corpse. It seemed to be communicating with the headless corpse. Soon, they seemed to have come to an agreement. Black Beetle was convinced. "All right, we'll do as you say." Meng Jiyao was a bit depressed. These 3 fellows were ignoring her. However, she was just a prisoner. It was normal for them to ignore her. Lin Feng wanted to include her in the group to get more of the celestial world's essence. Black Beetle and the headless corpse would definitely not agree. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55:13. Lin Feng activated the stone scripture. The stone scripture emitted a divine light that enveloped Lin Feng, Meng Jiyao, Black Beetle, and the headless corpse. Then, Lin Feng pushed the door open. "Damn, what's going on?" Seeing this, Black Beetle was completely dumbfounded. Earlier, he had joined forces with the headless corpse to break the seal. But they hadn't succeeded. Lin Feng had actually ignored the seal. Wasn't that too inconceivable? However, it was all real. "Let's go in." Lin Feng said with a smile. Black Beetle tried to fly into the room. When he came into contact with the seal, he was still a little nervous, afraid that the seal would attack him. After coming into contact with the seal, he found that nothing happened. This made Black Beetle very excited. Black Beetle successfully entered the room. The headless corpse and Meng Ji Yao also entered the room. There was an ancient golden cauldron in the room. The ancient golden cauldron was sealed, and no one knew what was inside. If there really was the source of the heaven realm, it should be inside the golden cauldron. Meng Ji Yao knew that she didn't have a share, so she stood in the distance and looked at Lin Feng with gritted teeth. Meng Ji Yao's resentment was very strong. He looked like he wanted to eat Lin Feng alive. She was also cursing Lin Feng in her heart. Lin Feng happily opened the lid of the ancient cauldron. Immediately, he discovered that there was a ball of pure origin sealed inside. What a waste! What a waste! Black Beetle shouted gloomily. Senior, why are you shouting? Lin Feng couldn't help but ask. Black Beetle said, back then, I saw the source of the heaven realm. Its effect was more than 1,000 times. Although the source of the heaven realm hasn't been destroyed, its effect has been greatly reduced. Said Lin Feng, time makes people grow old. The original essence of the celestial world can't escape the erosion of time, said Lin Feng. Black Beetle nodded sympathetically, but he soon realized what was going on. Black grapes. The banana had softened. This kid seemed to be hinting at something. Fuck, you're not a good person, Black Beetle said. Meng Ji Yao was a bit confused. She didn't know why Black Beetle had suddenly said that Lin Feng wasn't a good person. Could it be that there was internal strife? Was there an imbalance in the distribution of the loot? Let's fight. Let's fight. It would be best if they fought. Both sides suffered great losses. Break the seal by yourself, and when the time comes, all of you will become prisoners. Especially Lin Feng. When the time comes, watch how this fairy tortures this bad guy. But soon, Meng Ji Yao was disappointed because Lin Feng and Black Beetle didn't fight. Said Lin Feng, Master, since you don't like the original strengths of the celestial world, why don't you give them all to me? I don't mind having more of them, said Lin Feng. Why is your skin so thick? Black Beetle curled his lips and said, although the effects aren't as good, it's still effective. Black Beetle divided the heaven realm's source energy into 3 parts, one for each of them. Lin Feng put his share away. He would find some time to refine the heaven realm's source energy. Black Beetle said, the ice goddess is no longer the ice goddess. Since she suffered a great loss before, she definitely won't let it go. She'll definitely think of a way to take revenge on us, so you should be careful. Lin Feng said, there's a saying that even if the sky falls, the tall ones will hold it up. So, if the ice goddess really wants to take revenge, she'll come looking for you first. Heh, who knows? It's good that she comes looking for us first. We'll definitely kill her. Black Beetle said, do you hate her that much? Lin Feng asked. Black Beetle said, not hate. I just want her to be free as soon as possible. After chatting with Black Beetle for a while, Black Beetle and the headless corpse left. Lin Feng and Meng Ji Yao left as well. Meng Ji Yao said pitifully, can you let me go now? You want to leave me that badly? Lin Feng smiled at Meng Ji Yao. Meng Ji Yao said, I just remembered that I have some urgent matters to attend to. Of course, Lin Feng didn't believe Meng Ji Yao. He grabbed her and put her on his shoulder. Meng Ji Yao started struggling and shouting, put me down, put me down. Slap, slap. Lin Feng slapped Meng Ji Yao's perky breasts 3 times in a row, causing tears to well up in her eyes. Lin Feng said, I can let you go, but you'll need that old bastard from your clan to give you a teleportation stone. Meng Ji Yao said angrily, I already gave you the token to enter the divine court. Aren't you satisfied with something so precious? There's a saying that even the wool of a sheep can't be shaved. You captured me and want to extort so many precious things? Isn't that too much? Lin Feng said, I'm willing and I like it. What can you do about it? Meng Ji Yao was about to explode from anger. All the grievances she had suffered during this period of time poured out. She cursed loudly, Lin Feng, you bastard, bastard, shameless, pervert, despicable. Meng Ji Yao cursed whatever sounded bad. Slap, slap, slap. Lin Feng slapped her again and again. Meng Jiyao cried out in pain. However, the grievances and anger in her heart intertwined, so she didn't shut up. Instead, she continued to curse Lin Feng. You despicable bastard. I'll definitely kill you. I'll tear your corpse to pieces. If you curse me, I'll slap you. Lin Feng said. Slap, 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 slap. Another slap landed on Meng Jiyao's perky breasts. Meng Jiyao cursed, Lin Feng, you're bullying a woman. You're not a man. Hee hee, you'll know soon enough whether I'm a man or not. Lin Feng laughed. There was a poem that was very good. Young men and women were amorous, and their love in brocade tints was endless. Xingpa came to a hotel, and Quang Hun was suspected to have entered an immortal boat. His face was stained with sweat and rouge, and his face was stained with oil. One fell, the other couldn't sleep, and the rooster crowed until the dawn of autumn. This poem was about a man and a woman who were together without sleep or rest. Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao reappeared. The sky was still filled with stars. Lin Feng felt refreshed. Meng Jiyao's eyes were red and teary. When she looked at Lin Feng, she gnashed her teeth hatefully. Lin Feng, I hate you. Meng Jiyao said hatefully. Said Lin Feng, we're enemies. Isn't it normal for you to hate me? Lin Feng said, I've never seen someone as shameless as you. Meng Jiyao said through clenched teeth. Lin Feng said with a smile, I don't think I'm shameless. How about this? Since you've already done it with me 100 times, I'll take you as my concubine. What do you think? Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55:14. Lin Feng had taken her virginity, which made Meng Jiyao gnash her teeth in hatred. Now, Lin Feng wanted to take her as his concubine. How could she agree? She was a woman who valued her virginity, but yesterday's events were unforgettable. She glared at Lin Feng and said, Don't even think about it. Lin Feng said, Maybe you'll cry and beg me to take you as my concubine in the future. You're daydreaming. Meng Jiyao said through gritted teeth. Not long after, they saw Tao Tai and Wu Xiuren. Those two guys were looking at Lin Feng and Meng Jiyao in an ambiguous way. Meng Jiyao was so angry that she wanted to draw her sword and kill them. What do we do now? Tao Tai asked. Lin Feng said, We still need a few dozen teleportation stones. Those things aren't easy to get. We can extort some from that old bastard from the Ming clan. Meng Jiyao looked at Lin Feng coldly, but she didn't say anything. No matter what she said, Lin Feng wouldn't change his mind. Said Lin Feng, Initially, I wanted to ask Old Man Ming for more teleportation stones, but because of you, I'll let you go. Give him 10 teleportation stones, and I'll let you go, said Lin Feng. Meng Jiyao naturally knew who Lin Feng was talking about. Meng Jiyao respected her ancestor very much, so when she heard Lin Feng call him Old Ghost Ming, she couldn't help but be furious. She kicked at Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng easily dodged it. Should I thank you for that? Meng Jiyao said coldly. Lin Feng lowered his voice and said, If you want to thank me, we can fight another 300 rounds tonight. Meng Jiyao blushed and reached out to grab Lin Feng, but Lin Feng dodged. The news of the southern region's Saintess Meng Jiyao being captured by the human-beast combination had already spread. Many people had heard of this matter. Meng Jiyao, as the holy maiden of the southern region, had countless suitors. So when they heard this news, many of Meng Jiyao's pursuers were furious. They formed an anti-human beast alliance and searched everywhere for the whereabouts of Lin Feng and the others. All of them wished they could tear Lin Feng and the others into pieces. As for the Ming clan, they were also searching for the whereabouts of the human-beast duo. Right at this moment, a piece of news spread. If you want Meng Jiyao, give me 10 teleportation stones. The location is in the Iceland, and the ancestor of the Ming clan can't come, otherwise, I'll kill her. This news caused a huge uproar. They had kidnapped Meng Jiyao. He even threatened the Ming family's ancestor with this. The old ancestor of the Ming clan was an extraordinary figure. Would he be threatened? The old ancestor of the Ming family was furious when he heard the news, because it was the first time he was threatened. Thinking of the human-beast duo Lin Feng, the old ancestor's face couldn't help but become gloomy. He wished he could tear Lin Feng apart. He chased Lin Feng for a long time, but he couldn't catch up with Lin Feng. This matter made the old ancestor of the Meng family quite depressed, but his luck was really good. Although he couldn't catch up with Lin Feng, but after losing Lin Feng, the old ancestor of the Meng clan obtained an opportunity. His cultivation had improved by quite a bit. The old ancestor of the Meng clan wanted to cut Lin Feng and the others into pieces, but he remembered that Meng Jiyao was in the hands of Lin Feng and the others. The old ancestor of the Meng clan hesitated. What if Lin Feng and the others really killed Meng Jiyao? The old ancestor of the Meng clan liked Meng Jiyao very much. There was a reason why he liked Meng Jiyao. First of all, Meng Jiyao was very talented. Second of all, Meng Jiyao was humble, studious, and smart. The last point was the most important one. Meng Jiyao's bloodline was very special. Her bloodline gave Meng Jiyao a powerful perception. It was an unparalleled perception that no one could compare to. Even someone as strong as him couldn't compare to Meng Jiyao in terms of perception. This was the most terrifying point. The old ancestor of the Meng clan knew one thing. If one wanted to surpass the Saint Realm, one needed extraordinary ability. What was extraordinary ability? It was reaching the pinnacle in a certain aspect. This was what it meant to surpass others. Only then could one soar to the sky. Only then could one have a chance to reach a higher level. Among the descendants of the Meng clan, the old ancestor of the Meng clan favored Meng Jiyao the most. Therefore, Lin Feng and the others asked for 10 teleportation stones. The old ancestor of the Meng clan could give them to Lin Feng and the others. Soon, the old ancestor of the Meng clan said, I can give you teleportation stones, but you can't hurt Ji Yao? Lin Feng spread the news. Don't worry, we are very honest. We won't hurt Fairy Ming. Many people sighed. They hadn't thought that this matter would be resolved this way. However, many people felt that under the calm, there were turbulent waves. Once the transaction was completed, the Meng clan wouldn't give up. While waiting, Lin Feng pulled Meng Jiyao to dual cultivate more than once. I'm about to break through. Today, Meng Jiyao exclaimed with a smile on her face. TSK, if it weren't for me, would you be able to break through so quickly? Said Lin Feng shamelessly. Meng Jiyao ground her teeth and said hatefully, I'd rather not break through like this. You should cultivate well. It's best if you can break through, said Lin Feng. Meng Jiyao bit her red lips and ignored Lin Feng. She immediately went into seclusion. Meng Jiyao had really broken through. Lin Feng had also broken through. Meng Jiyao had broken through because of dual cultivation. Lin Feng had broken through because of dual cultivation and refining the heaven world source energy. Lin Feng was originally at the 4th layer of the virtual immortal realm. After coming out of seclusion, he actually broke through to the 7th layer of the virtual immortal realm. Ever since entering the world of time reversal, Lin Feng's cultivation had skyrocketed. Before entering, he was only at the Earth immortal realm. After entering, he broke through to the Sky immortal realm and then the True immortal realm. Now, he had even broken through to the 6th layer of the True immortal realm. This kind of speed of improvement was enough to make people dumbfounded. However, Lin Feng didn't have any complacency. There were 4 great realms in the True immortal realm. Golden Sage. He was only at the 1st layer. Moreover, the Sage realm above the True immortal realm was divided into 9 great realms. Moreover, there were still realms above the Sage realm. Even though Lin Feng didn't know what the cultivation layer above the Shang layer was, he had the impression that it was the same cultivation level as the one behind the scenes. If he wanted to survive the world extermination battle, he had to at least break through to the Sage realm to fight for that slim hope. If he wanted to protect his family, lover, friends, and so on, he would have to surpass the Sage realm. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55:15. Lin Feng was the first to come out. When he saw that Meng Jiyao had broken through, Lin Feng smiled and said, Congratulations on breaking through. Congratulations, sister. Congratulations to your whole family. Meng Jiyao was like a tigress as she replied to Lin Feng. There was a price to pay for breaking through. Lin Feng said, I realize that you're even more beautiful than before. You're even more charming than before. It seems that a young girl is indeed different from a young married woman. Upon hearing Lin Feng's words, Meng Jiyao began to grit her teeth again. That be **starred bastard. She really wanted to kill him. Lin Feng said, "We'll set off tomorrow to make a deal with your people." Meng Jiyao was a bit absent-minded. After spending some time with Lin Feng had shocked her many times. He had also made her grit her teeth in hatred. Now that they were about to part, she didn't know why, but she felt a sense of loss. This feeling, even Meng Jiyao herself was shocked. How could she have such a feeling? Meng Jiyao didn't dare believe it. She had been bullied by this bastard again and again. She should be itching to cut him into pieces, right? Lin Feng saw that Meng Jiyao was in a daze and smiled. What? You can't bear to part with him? Could it be that you've grown attached to him over time? No matter how pure Meng Jiyao was, she could still hear the meaning behind Lin Feng's words. She couldn't help but glare fiercely at Lin Feng. Just you wait. I won't let you off. The night before the deal, Meng Jiyao couldn't sleep. Her mood was complicated and terrible. The next day, Lin Feng and the others set off for the Land of Ice. They weren't far from the Land of Ice. It was only a few hours away. Many cultivators had already gathered in the Land of Ice. There were many people watching the show, and many of Meng Jiyao's pursuers. Meng Jiyao had been kidnapped for many days. Many of Meng Jiyao's pursuers were in a bad mood. I've seen the human-beast combo before. That human brat is definitely not a good person. He's despicable, shameless, and despicable. Now that fairy Meng Jiyao is in his hands, do you think he'll do something heartless to her? Actually, this was also what Meng Jiyao's pursuers were worried about. Meng Jiyao. She was the perfect goddess in the hearts of countless people. Powerful, intelligent, and beautiful. If that brat took her virginity, many people would go crazy. Impossible. That brat wouldn't dare. If he dared, the Meng family won't let him off, and the southern region's countless geniuses won't let him off either. Then someone said, yes, that brat definitely wouldn't dare, so we don't have to worry. Another cultivator said, this was more like self-consolation. Wow, so many people. Seeing the densely packed crowd, Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim, there are really a lot of people. It seems like Meng Jiyao's popularity is too great. Lin Feng said, looks like you have a lot of pursuers. Meng Jiyao said proudly, of course. Lin Feng fiercely slapped Meng Jiyao's perky buttocks. Meng Jiyao blushed and looked at Lin Feng angrily. Lin Feng said, remember, only I can touch you. Other men definitely can't touch you, or I'll kill their whole family and then capture you 100 times. 100 times. Seeing Lin Feng's domineering appearance, Meng Jiyao's heart began to beat violently for no reason. She didn't know what was wrong with her, so she could only snort coldly to cover up her somewhat flustered emotions. Actually, what Meng Jiyao didn't know was, during the time she spent with Lin Feng, as she gradually came to understand Lin Feng and lost her virginity to Lin Feng, Lin Feng's image in Meng Jiyao's heart had completely changed. Lin Feng's image was also imprinted in her mind, but even she wasn't very clear about it. Look, she's here. Someone pointed in the distance, and everyone looked over. It's Fairy Ming. Many people said excitedly. Fairy Ming is so beautiful, as expected of the holy maiden of the southern region. Yeah, she's so beautiful that it's suffocating. This is the first time I've seen such a beautiful woman. If I had such a beautiful wife, I'd die without regrets. Come on, you want to have such a beautiful wife? You're daydreaming. Countless people started discussing, Fairy Ming, that boy didn't do anything to you, right? Fairy Ming, that boy didn't bully you, right? Fairy Ming, are you all right? Many of Meng Jiyao's pursuers asked. They were naturally very concerned about this topic. They hoped that the goddess in their hearts would be perfect. Meng Jiyao's expression was cold, and she ignored them. Lin Feng said, piss off. A good dog doesn't block the way. Boy, you're too arrogant. I think you're courting death. Do you believe that I won't kill you in a second? Many people were filled with righteous indignation, glaring at Lin Feng furiously. They wanted nothing more than to slap Lin Feng to death. Only trash likes to shout. If you're really strong, just attack. I'll kill you all as easily as killing dogs. Lin Feng said with a cold smile. Many people knew that Lin Feng had dozens of holy undead spirits as his subordinates. Only peerless cultivators would dare attack Lin Feng. Therefore, even though the young geniuses were happy, they didn't dare attack Lin Feng. However, if they were asked to attack Lin Feng, they wouldn't dare. "Boy, just you wait. We'll tolerate you for now because of Fairy Ming's safety," said one of the geniuses. Lin Feng sneered and ignored those geniuses. "You're really arrogant." Meng Jiyao looked at Lin Feng, speechless. Lin Feng said, "I'm arrogant because I'm awesome." Meng Jiyao wanted to refute, but after thinking about it, she couldn't find anything to refute Lin Feng. Lin Feng had 56 holy undead spirits as his subordinates. Lin Feng himself was really awesome. She had dual cultivated with Lin Feng many times, so she knew exactly what Lin Feng's cultivation level was. He was just a virtual immortal. Using all kinds of means, he could even compete with some low-level Sage Realm cultivators. It was really incredible. So Lin Feng did have the right to be arrogant. Compared to Lin Feng, those young geniuses were far too weak. After thinking about it, Meng Jiyao looked at Lin Feng in a different way. Lin Feng seemed to be more and more pleasing to the eye. Meng Jiyao didn't know why, but she felt that Lin Feng was more and more pleasing to the eye. Could it be that Lin Feng was right? That the two of them had developed feelings for each other? Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55:16. Lin Feng looked at Meng Jiyao and said, "I don't think your clan's people are here yet. Wait a bit longer." Meng Jiyao said, "Don't try anything funny, or don't blame me for being impolite." Lin Feng said. Meng Jiyao was speechless. "What's the point of threatening me? If you want to threaten someone, go and threaten them." Cough, cough. Lin Feng coughed dryly and said, "It's purely a drill, purely a drill." They found a place to wait. Before long, a dozen cultivators flew over, led by a middle-aged man. "Third uncle." Meng Jiyao called out when she saw the middle-aged man. "Third uncle." "Hello, third uncle." Lin Feng greeted him with a smile. Meng Jiyao blushed slightly. Lin Feng also called her third uncle, third uncle. What did that mean? Meng Jiyao's third uncle's expression darkened. "Who are you? Know your place. We're enemies. Who's your third uncle? How can you be so thick-skinned? Fuck, that little brat is really shameless." Not only did he kidnap Meng Jiyao, he even called Meng Jiyao's third uncle uncle. Shameless people are invincible under the heavens. Isn't that so? I've never seen such a shameless person. He's really the most shameless person in the world. Many people were discussing this. Meng Jiyao's third uncle was called Meng Tiange. It was obvious that he had been a handsome young master when he was young. Although he was middle-aged, he still had an extraordinary bearing. He suppressed his anger and glared at Lin Feng, then looked at Meng Jiyao and asked, "Yao Yao, are you all right?" Meng Jiyao naturally couldn't tell him about what had happened with Lin Feng. Those things were destined to be buried in her heart forever. "I'm fine," she said. Meng Tiange sighed and said, "That's good." He then looked at Lin Feng and asked, "How do we trade?" Lin Feng replied, "Give me 10 teleportation stones first, and then I'll release Yao Yao." F***CK. You shameless bastard. What qualifications do you have to call out Fairy Ming's name? No matter what, you're still a genius. Can't you be more shameless? Shameless people are invincible under the heavens. Standing with a shameless person like you is a disgrace to all of us. Many people began to curse. Lin Feng didn't pay attention to those people's curses. There was a saying that a dog that bites doesn't bark. A dog that barks randomly doesn't dare to bite. It was just a momentary pleasure. It was not worth mentioning. Sure, Meng Tiange said. He was not an ordinary person. Moreover, he felt that his judgment of people was quite accurate. After Lin Feng obtained the teleportation stone, he probably wouldn't play any tricks. Meng Tiange took out the 10 teleportation stones. His magic power enveloped the 10 teleportation stones. Next, the 10 teleportation stones quickly flew towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng put away the 10 teleportation stones. Lin Feng immediately became extremely happy. With these 10 teleportation stones, he had a total of 47 teleportation stones. Wu Xiora needed 64 teleportation stones to set up a teleportation formation. Now, he just needed to collect another 17 teleportation stones. Yao Yao, think about it carefully. What I said to you before will be effective in the long run. Lin Feng smiled. Meng Jiyao naturally knew what Lin Feng was talking about. She snorted lightly. Lin Feng patted Meng Jiyao lightly. Meng Jiyao flew towards Meng Tiange. Lin Feng, you little thief, are you ready to die? Said a cold voice. In the next moment, the void split open and an old man stepped out. The great elder of the Futian Grotto, Old Man Wendao. Someone exclaimed. Old Man Wendao was definitely a terrifying existence. He was a cultivator at the Great Circle of the Saint Plain. He was a top cultivator who could suppress an entire region. Does that scourge have a grudge against the Futian Grotto? Someone asked. He was extremely surprised. He hadn't thought that Lin Feng would have a grudge against the Futian Grotto. Because of the reversal of time, it was almost impossible to travel between regions, so it was basically impossible to spread any news. Therefore, naturally, no one knew what had happened in the eastern region. At that moment, a cultivator from the eastern region said, Lin Feng killed the genius of the Futian Grotto, Xian Chenzi. Xian Chenzi is the son of the vice leader of the Futian Grotto. His father is a strong cultivator from the Phoenix clan. The Futian Grotto is a top power in the eastern region. Indeed, it's an extremely terrifying power. It's unimaginably powerful. I already said that this boy is a scourge. Sure enough, he even dared to kill the son of the vice leader of the Futian Grotto. He's really audacious. Even if he killed the son of the vice leader of the Futian Grotto, the great elder of the Futian Grotto doesn't have to do anything, right? After all, his seniority is too high. If someone of that level were to make a move, it would really damage their status. Hee, everyone knows that Lin Feng has many teleportation stones. If they kill Lin Feng, they can get many teleportation stones. Of course, these top cultivators don't mind killing Lin Feng. The surrounding cultivators were discussing spiritedly. At that moment, 3 more strong cultivators appeared one after another. However, of the 3 strong cultivators, one was enveloped in darkness, one was enveloped in divine light, and the last one was enveloped in holy light. Who were they? Nobody knew. The 3 strong cultivators who had appeared later were obviously concerned about their reputation. They wanted to hide their identities, so they didn't show themselves. There are so many top cultivators. The human-beast duo is doomed. Serves you right. You really do. You only have yourself to blame. Many cultivators had gloating expressions on their faces. Meng Jiyao was suddenly worried about Lin Feng. He was extremely unwilling to see Lin Feng suffer because of this. Ha 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 ha. You 4 old bastards, do you think I'm not on guard against you? Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer at the 4 of them. Guard against? The old man looked at Lin Feng with a mocking gaze. Do you think you can pose a threat to us with those tricks of yours? The expert shrouded in darkness sneered and said, Your means are not worth mentioning in front of us. This fellow's voice was hoarse and gloomy, like the voice of a malicious spirit. It was obvious that he was not a good person. Lin Feng sneered and said, Don't be too pleased with yourself. I haven't even shown you what I'm capable of. Once I do, you'll know if it's enough to deal with you 4 shameless old men. When they heard Lin Feng describe the 4 of them as shameless old men, they were shocked. The 4 experts were so angry that their bodies were trembling. Their eyes were filled with killing intent. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55:17. Attack. The 4 experts couldn't bear it any longer. The 4 of them shouted coldly and attacked together, condensing powerful divine abilities to deal with Lin Feng and the others. However, Lin Feng was already prepared for this. Lin Feng waved his hand. The stone scripture immediately flew out. Under Lin Feng's control, a terrifying fluctuation surged out of the stone scripture. That undulation made the 4 great powerhouses' faces involuntarily change slightly. The 4 experts didn't know what the stone scripture Lin Feng had taken out was. However, they could feel that the stone scripture was extraordinary. The 4 of them quickly condensed their attacks. In an instant, they attacked. However, at this moment, the stone scripture emitted a series of runes. Those runes intertwined together, sealing the world. Its power was terrifying to the extreme. A series of terrifying attacks came crashing down, but they were all neutralized by those runes. Shock, astonishment, and disbelief. Everyone had an expression of disbelief. The four top experts were so terrifying and powerful, but their attacks were blocked by an unknown magic treasure. Anyone who saw this would be very shocked. The stone scripture. It's the legendary stone scripture. At that moment, someone cried out in alarm. What? It's that supreme treasure. Some cultivators who knew the origin of the stone scripture were very shocked. The stone scripture that had disappeared for a long time had actually reappeared. Didn't that mean the owner of the stone scripture was the successor of the Celestial Master Sect? The Celestial Master Sect had reappeared in the world. Those who knew the Celestial Master Sect were very afraid of them. They were extremely afraid of the Celestial Master Taoist Sect. Those people knew how terrifying the Celestial Master Taoist Sect was. What kind of magic treasure is that? Someone asked curiously. Not everyone knew the origin of the stone scripture. Many people didn't know the origin of the stone scripture. Some of the cultivators who knew the origin of the stone scripture said to the people around them, "Have you heard of the Celestial Master Sect? The stone scripture is a sacred treasure passed down by the Celestial Master Sect." Many people didn't know about the stone scripture, but they knew about the legends of the Celestial Master Sect. Therefore, when they heard that the stone scripture was a sacred treasure of the Celestial Master Sect, they couldn't help but be moved. This guy really has a lot of tricks up his sleeve. Meng Tiange frowned. Said Meng Jiyao. He really does have a lot of tricks up his sleeves. People like him have great luck. People like that are very difficult to kill. If they can't be killed, they'll become enemies. At that time, it'll bring a lot of trouble to the clan. Therefore, tell the ancestor not to make him an enemy again. Meng Tiange knew Meng Jiyao's abilities. Her perception and even her ability to predict the future were all extraordinary. As such, although Meng Jiyao was only a junior, her position in the family was extremely high. All right, I'll find an opportunity to tell the ancestor about this, Meng Tiange said. Everyone, take out your magic treasures and deal with them. The terrifying existence shrouded in divine light said, all right. The four experts quickly reached an agreement. They all took out powerful magic weapons to deal with Lin Feng. The expert shrouded in divine light took out a demon-slaying saber. Old Man Wen Dao took out a heaven-destroying sword. The expert shrouded in darkness took out a black devil seal. The expert shrouded in divine light took out a bronze treasured ruler. The four magic treasures were activated. They shook the heavens and the earth as they moved towards Lin Feng and the others. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55:18. The power of the four treasures was shocking. They violently attacked the defense formed by the stone scripture. The defense formed by the stone scripture shook violently. However, the defense formed by the stone scripture blocked the attacks of the four treasures. Lin Feng took advantage of this opportunity. He condensed a space-time gate. It's a space-time gate. That kid is so strong. Is he trying to leave through a space-time gate? Obviously, that's what he's planning. However, the four of them have heaven-defying cultivation bases. They can easily seal the surrounding space-time. I'm afraid that kid's wish won't come true. No, I think that kid is a smart person. He must know how powerful the four great experts are. Since he knows this, why did he still use such a method? What does that mean? It means that he has a way to deal with the threat of the four of them. This guy is the successor of the Celestial Master Sect. His methods are strange. He even obtained the Celestial Master Sect's holy scripture. So, it's normal for him to have such a method. The surrounding cultivators started discussing spiritedly. The four of them sneered. Space-time lock. They released waves of powerful dermic powers. The dermic powers surged into the void and sealed the space-time gate. However, at that moment, the stone scripture started to emit waves of intense energy fluctuations. Those energy fluctuations were truly too powerful. The sealed space was actually destroyed by the stone scripture. Not good. The four of them couldn't help but look gloomy. They were powerful, but Lin Feng's stone scripture was too strong. Even their methods had been destroyed by Lin Feng's stone scripture. They were furious. Lin Feng sneered. You four shameless old men. Tell the cultivators of your families to be careful. When the time comes, I'll kill them. If they're beautiful female cultivators, I'll capture them and F***ck them 100 times. Bastard. When the four of them heard Lin Feng's words, they trembled with anger. Their eyes flashed with killing intent. However, at this moment, they couldn't do anything to Lin Feng. Lin Feng and the others entered the space-time gate. Immediately after, the stone scripture flew into the spatial door as well. Following that, the spatial door disappeared. Very soon, in the ancient battlefield, some top forces joined forces to search for the whereabouts of the human-beast combination. However, to everyone's surprise, the southern region's Meng family unexpectedly didn't participate. Meng Jiyao was taken away by the beasts. The Meng clan had no choice but to pay 10 teleportation stones for Meng Jiyao. For the Meng clan, this is a great humiliation. Logically speaking, the Meng clan should have issued a bounty for the human-beast duo. Why hasn't the Meng clan done anything? Some cultivators were very confused and didn't know what the Meng clan was planning. Many people were discussing this matter. At this time, Lin Feng, Tao Dai, and Wu Xiaoran were in seclusion in an ancient mountain range. At the same time, he had to avoid the limelight. In addition, Lin Feng could enter the Divine Dao Immortal Palace to see what was inside. However, the Divine Dao Immortal Palace was Lin Feng's secret. Lin Feng didn't want to expose the secret of the Divine Dao Immortal Palace in front of others, so he didn't enter. It wouldn't be too late to wait until later. After adjusting for a while, Lin Feng and the others came out. After coming out, Lin Feng and the others began to investigate the identities of the other 3 experts who had besieged them. Lin Feng and the others already knew the identity of the old man. However, the identity of the other 3 was very mysterious. However, there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall in this world. After a careful investigation, Lin Feng and the others really did find out. The experts shrouded in darkness were from the Dark Sky Sacred God clan. This clan was a top force in the western region and was very terrifying. The cultivators shrouded in divine light were from the Ancient God clan. This clan was also very powerful in the northern region. As for the cultivators shrouded in divine light, they were from the Sacred Soul Immortal clan in the central region. Although the identities of these 3 experts weren't clear, their origins were confirmed. Soon, the news spread. The cultivators of Fujian Cave, Dark Sky Sacred God clan, Ancient God clan, and Sacred Soul Immortal clan were attacked by the combination of human and beast, and they suffered heavy casualties. These 4 forces were very powerful, but under the attack of the combination of human and beast, they didn't have the power to fight back. The forces that had originally participated in the encirclement of Lin Feng and the others couldn't help but become obedient and didn't dare to continue participating in this matter. The reason why the combination of human and beast is so terrifying is mainly because of that human brat. He has a book of the dead that can summon Saint Realm undead. More than 10 Saint Realm experts of the 4 forces have died in their hands. The casualties of cultivators below the Saint Realm are even more serious. I heard that the ancestors of the 4 forces are about to die from anger. They threaten to tear the combination of human and beast to pieces. Countless people were discussing this matter. Soon, another big news spread. The cultivators of the 4 forces were attacked again. This time, more than 10 top geniuses of the 4 forces were captured. They became prisoners of the combination of human and beast. These top geniuses were the hope of the 4 forces. In the future, they still needed to support the future of the 4 forces. But now, they were being suppressed. The situation was extremely bad. If you want them, use teleportation stones to exchange for them. 10 teleportation stones per force. At this moment, Lin Feng released the news. Damn, they're really evil. The combination of human and beast should have collected dozens of teleportation stones, right? Small teleportation arrays don't need that many, right? Why do they need so many teleportation stones? The price of a teleportation stone has already reached 3 billion high-grade immortal stones, and they can't even be bought. Why do you think they need so many teleportation stones? Damn, they've really struck it rich. In the ancient battlefield, countless forces were discussing this matter. The experts of the 4 forces were much quieter. During this period of time, they had suffered heavy losses. The four ancestors searched everywhere for Lin Feng and the others, but Lin Feng and the others were nowhere to be seen. Now, so many geniuses had been captured. They had no choice but to make a deal. Although they were incomparably sullen, although they gnashed their teeth in hatred, but so what? Unless they didn't want to save those geniuses. In the end, Lin Feng's group of 3 made a deal with the four forces. They successfully obtained 40 teleportation stones. The young geniuses of the 4 influential groups who had been captured were released by Lin Feng and the other 2. The combination of human and beast cannot be provoked. Soon, this sentence spread rapidly in the ancient battlefield. The combination of human and beast was too ferocious. Indeed, they couldn't be provoked. Otherwise, they would definitely suffer great misfortune. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version. Chapter 55:19. After extorting 40 teleportation stones from the 4 major powers, Lin Feng now had 87 teleportation stones. However, Lin Feng's group only needed 64 teleportation stones. Therefore, Lin Feng had 23 teleportation stones that he didn't need. Lin Feng inquired about the price of the teleportation stones. It was said that 1 teleportation stone was sold for 3 billion high-grade immortal stones. Moreover, there was no market for it. Thus, Lin Feng spread the news that he was selling 1 teleportation stone for 5 billion high-grade immortal stones. When the news spread, it caused quite a stir. One must know, teleportation stones were too hard to find. Wanting to find a teleportation stone was as hard as ascending to the heavens. This guy is really greedy. He's actually selling 1 teleportation stone for 5 billion high-grade immortal stones. Isn't he afraid of dying from overeating? I wonder if anyone's buying it? Many people were discussing this matter. When the old ancestors of the 4 major powers heard about this, they were so angry that they almost vomited blood. The teleportation stones they had obtained with great difficulty had been extorted 40 by Lin Feng's group. And now, Lin Feng actually wanted to sell those teleportation stones. The 4 old ancestors were almost angered to death. Some cultivators from the major powers were looking for Lin Feng's group. Some of them really wanted to buy the teleportation stones, even though Lin Feng's price was very high. However, to some of the major powers, they really needed the teleportation stones. Especially, some of the major powers' teleportation arrays were about to be completed. They only lacked a few teleportation stones. At this time, they no longer wanted to bitterly search for teleportation stones. They gritted their teeth and bought them from Lin Feng's group. Lin Feng's teleportation stones were selling like wildfire. It was truly a good way to get rich. What surprised Lin Feng was that he saw the holy maiden of the eastern region, Xiaolingyu. Lin Feng had a good impression of Xiaolingyu. This was mainly because Xiaolingyu had helped Lin Feng several times before. Lin Feng was naturally very grateful to Xiaolingyu. Taoya's eyes were filled with hostility when he saw Xiaolingyu. He had fought with Xiaolingyu more than once, and had nearly been killed by her. Naturally, he was incomparably furious. However, what happened in the past was like a fleeting cloud, and they did not dwell on it anymore. Xiaolingyu was also here to buy teleportation stones. Who would have thought that you would grow so much in such a short time? Xiaolingyu said as she looked at Lin Feng. She was somewhat emotional. She still remembered the scene when she first met Lin Feng. Lin Feng replied, "Back then, I still have to thank the Holy Maiden for helping me. Otherwise, I might not be where I am now." After all, the two of them did not have a deep relationship, so they did not talk too much. Xiaolingyu needed 2 teleportation stones, so Lin Feng planned to give them to her. However, Xiaolingyu was very stubborn. She was unwilling to take Lin Feng's teleportation stones for free. Lin Feng gave her a discount and sold them to others for 5 billion each. He sold them to Xiaolingyu for 3 billion. Soon after, Xiaolingyu left. The 23 teleportation stones were quickly sold out. They sold for a total of 111 billion high-grade immortal stones. Lin Feng, Tao Dai, and Wu Xiuren each sold for 37 billion high-grade immortal stones. Tao Dai actually did not want these things, so Lin Feng benefited from them in the end. "When do we set up the teleportation array?" Lin Feng asked Wu Xiuren. Lin Feng did not know how to set up the teleportation array to the Supreme Divine Court, so he still needed Wu Xiren to set it up. Wu Xiren said, "We need to set it up when the 7 stars are in a row. We still need to wait for some time." 7 stars in a row? Which 7 stars? Lin Feng asked curiously. Dubhe, Merak, Fekta, Migrez, Aliath, Mizar, and Alcade. Wu Xiren said. Yes. Lin Feng nodded. Now, they just had to wait. Wu Xiren would observe the changes in the stars every night. He was very proficient in the arrangement of the stars and the changes in the sky. Lin Feng was very surprised. Wu Xiren had said that he had been studying the Qi Huang technique. It seemed that he was not just talking about it. He really did have deep attainments and achievements in this area. Ordinary people could not compare to him. Lin Feng wanted to go to the Supreme Divine Court as soon as possible, but he knew that he could not rush it. After waiting for about half a month, Wu Xiren smiled and said, "The stars are changing. I estimate that the 7 stars will be in a row in a few days." Lin Feng and Tao Dai could not help but get excited. They were finally going to set up the teleportation array and see the Supreme Divine Court. Lin Feng was very curious. What did the Supreme Divine Court look like? He had heard too many legends about the Supreme Divine Court. But Lin Feng hadn't seen the Supreme Divine Court. What did it look like? He was about to see the Supreme Divine Court. His mood suddenly became a little excited. Actually, if it was just to see the Supreme Divine Court, Lin Feng would not be so excited. But the key was that Lin Feng had the token to enter the Supreme Divine Court. Even if it was not 100% possible to enter the Supreme Divine Court, it was still a hope. If he could really enter the Supreme Divine Court, that would be great. He wondered if he could bring something out of the Supreme Divine Court. If he could, it would definitely be a heaven-defying opportunity. The day of the 7 stars in a row soon arrived. The 7 stars in a row was a very special situation. Before dawn, Dubhe, Merak, Fekta, Migrez, Aliath, Mizar, and Alcade. These 7 stars were connected. Then, at this time, the sun rose. When the 7 stars were connected, they formed a line with the sun. This was the so-called 7 stars in a row. Wu Xiren guessed the time of the 7 stars in a row. Thus, that night, the teleportation array was set up. Next, they waited for the 7 stars to arrive. Does the teleportation array rely on the 7 stars to activate? Lin Feng asked. Wu Xiren nodded and said, "That's right. The 7 stars in a row penetrate the sky. The light from the 7 stars in a row will shine on the teleportation array. Then, the teleportation array will activate and we will be teleported out." "How do we get out?" Lin Feng asked. "When we are teleported out, our thoughts can communicate with the teleportation array. Our thoughts can communicate with the teleportation array, and we can immediately come out." Wu Xiren said. Time passed. Dawn arrived. The 7 stars were connected together. At the same time, a ray of white appeared on the horizon. Red clouds rose into the sky. The sun seemed to be about to come out. Lin Feng and the other 2 stepped onto the teleportation array. 15 minutes later, the sun came out. The 7 stars in a row and the sun formed a line. A beam of light shone on the teleportation array. Shwa! The light flashed. Lin Feng and the other 2 were immediately teleported out. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55:20. When Lin Feng and the others reappeared, they were already in a brand new world. This world wasn't big, but there was a huge palace in the depths of this world. Lin Feng and the others could see the palace from afar. It was dazzling in the endless holy light. Is that the Supreme Divine Court? It's so big. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. The Supreme Divine Court was like a huge ancient city floating in the void, filled with a sense of holiness. Tao Dai muttered, "I thought the Supreme Divine Court was just a palace. Why does it look like an ancient city?" Rumor has it that the Supreme Divine Court was originally an ancient city built by a certain expert. Wu Xiren said, "There's such a rumor?" Lin Feng was shocked. The Supreme Divine Court was so huge that it gave off a shocking feeling. Even from a distance, one could still feel the endless heavenly might. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. He couldn't tell if Wu Xiuren's words were true or not. If they were true, what kind of expert had built the Supreme Divine Court? It was truly inconceivable. Wu Xiuren said, "There are too many rumors in the world. Most of the time, it's impossible to tell whether they're true or false." Lin Feng said, "Let's go to the Supreme Divine Court and take a look. Hopefully, we can enter." Wu Xiuren and Tao Tai nodded and flew towards the Supreme Divine Court. When the three arrived outside the Supreme Divine Court, there were only a few people there. However, they didn't recognize Lin Feng. They were cultivators who had come here. Their auras were deep and ancient, and their strength was extraordinary. They were definitely top-tier experts. When they saw Lin Feng's group, they looked away. They weren't interested in paying attention to Lin Feng's group. In their eyes, Lin Feng's group wasn't worthy of their attention. Tao Tai said, "I heard that every time the ancient battlefield opens, the Supreme Divine Court will allow a cultivator to enter." Lin Feng nodded and said, "That's right. I've heard of this before." Wu Xiuren said, "We definitely won't be able to participate in the competition between the top experts. At the very least, we need to reach the peak of the Sage Realm. Look at those people. They're extremely ancient. I don't know how long they've lived. Maybe one of them is an existence that transcended eras." Lin Feng said, "Let's use our own methods to fight for a chance." They left the area and entered a forest not far away. Next, Lin Feng planned to study the token, which was the Black Jade Talisman. Runes swirled around the Jade Talisman. However, after studying it for a long time, Lin Feng didn't find anything special. As for communicating with the Supreme Divine Court through the Black Jade Talisman, that was just wishful thinking. Lin Feng gave the Black Jade Talisman to Tao Tai and Wu Xiuren to comprehend. They didn't gain anything either. Am I destined to have no fate with the Supreme Divine Court? Lin Feng sighed. He didn't want to give up. The Supreme Divine Court was right in front of him. It was such a mysterious place. Countless people had tried to enter it. Who knew how much they had to pay to enter? But now, the Supreme Divine Court was right in front of him, and he could only look at it and sigh. This feeling was truly despairing. Tao Tai and Wu Xiuren didn't look too good, but they didn't give up. They continued to try to communicate with the Supreme Divine Court. Perhaps they would be able to communicate with the Supreme Divine Court at some point. Over the next period of time, many people entered the world of the Supreme Divine Court. Those who could enter were all absolute experts. Ordinary people couldn't collect enough teleportation stones. Lin Feng saw some old acquaintances, such as Old Man Wen Dao and a few other shameless old men. Meng Jiyao, the Meng family's ancestor, and other familiar faces. Lin Feng didn't show himself. Wu Xiuren said, "When the Supreme Divine Court opens, the great Tao and immortal laws will surge out. At that time, even if you can't enter the Supreme Divine Court, if you can comprehend the great Tao and immortal laws, it will be of great benefit to your cultivation." Lin Feng said, "That's true, but how can comprehending the great Tao and immortal laws here compare to entering the Supreme Divine Court? I don't think the time is right. Maybe we need to wait a little longer. When the time is right, we might have some unexpected gains." 10 days later, a powerful wave of energy rippled out from the Supreme Divine Court. Then, the gate of the Supreme Divine Court opened. Although it was only a crack, it was enough to enter the Supreme Divine Court. When someone entered, the gate would close again. Whoosh! Many people rushed towards the Supreme Divine Court. How could it be so easy to enter the Supreme Celestial Court? An intense battle broke out between the cultivators and the void. Dozens of top-notch experts were locked in a fierce battle. No matter who tried to enter, they would be besieged. In the outer area, there were hundreds of cultivators watching the battle. This is a war of attrition. If you don't have absolute strength, you won't be able to last until the end. Tao Tai said. Lin Feng said, "It's too difficult to defeat everyone in a battle of this level, so we can only fight a war of attrition. Whoever has the strongest accumulation will be the final winner, unless something unexpected happens." As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, an old man walked over from afar. His body was like a mummy. His aura was sinister and terrifying, as if he was a ghost that had crawled out of hell. When he saw the old man, Lin Feng's face revealed a shocked expression. The mummified old man. He had actually come. This old senior's identity was mysterious. He had a deep relationship with Lin Feng. Lin Feng had never figured out who he was. He had searched all over the heavens as if he was looking for something. However, Lin Feng didn't know what the mummified old man was looking for. Now, the mummified old man had arrived. It seemed that he also wanted to enter the Supreme Divine Court. Could it be that there was something he was looking for in the Supreme Divine Court? The mummified old man was very fast. In the blink of an eye, he was outside the battlefield. He continued to walk towards the Supreme Divine Court. "You're courting death. Kill him." Many top experts revealed killing intent in their eyes. They felt the terrifying aura of the mummified old man. But so what? They definitely wouldn't let the mummified old man go. There were so many of them. Could it be that they couldn't kill the mummified old man? A group of people attacked, wanting to kill the mummified old man who was a great threat. Even if they couldn't kill him, they wanted to severely injure him so that he couldn't participate in this battle. All kinds of attacks bombarded the mummified old man, drowning him in an instant. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55-21. The Taodai cursed, F***CK. These guys are too shameless. So many of them are ganging up on one person. They're really shameless. Wu Shiren said, that old man is very strong. Many people feel threatened by him. The other experts are on par with him. They all have a chance to reach the end. That's why they joined forces to deal with that old man. They want to get rid of those who threaten them. That way, no one will be able to threaten them. Lin Feng nodded. At that moment, he frowned. Even though the old man was strong, he was facing dozens of high-level saints. Some of them were even at the top of the saint layer. Could the mummified old man withstand their attacks? After all, it was difficult for 2 fists to fight against 4 hands. Moreover, there were too many of them. Anyone who encountered such a situation would probably feel despair, right? The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show couldn't help but talk about it. They were also curious. They didn't know if the old man would be killed or seriously injured in an instant. Many people felt that there was a high probability. Soon, the attacks dissipated. Everyone was shocked because the attacks of dozens of top experts were not able to hurt the old man who looked like a mummy. He stood there, motionless. He wasn't affected at all. This ability was too heaven-defying, wasn't it? Isn't this too terrifying? The Taodai also couldn't help but feel dumbfounded. Lin Feng was moved. Although he knew that the old man was very strong, he didn't expect him to be strong to this extent. How is this possible? The dozens of top experts also had expressions of disbelief. How tyrannical were their attacks? Moreover, they were attacking together. Everyone's attacks formed a torrent of attacks that bombarded the mummified old man. The power of such an attack was naturally terrifying to an unfathomable extent. But in reality, the old man was like a mummy. He wasn't injured at all. Only this. From this, one could tell how powerful the mummified old man was. Take out your magic treasure and kill him, the old man said coldly. This shameless old man's skin was as thick as a city wall. He was definitely a shameless person. He took out his magic treasure first. The others saw the old man take out his magic treasure. They also took out their magic treasures one after another. A group of top experts activated the power of their magic treasures. As the magic treasure's power continued to increase, the fluctuations from the magic treasures became stronger and stronger. Kill! A deep roar suddenly rang out. One by one, the top experts manipulated their Dharma treasures to attack the mummified old man. The old man's expression was very stiff. He had always been expressionless. His personality had always been like this. His expression was as if it had weathered and never changed. Can that old man still withstand the attacks of so many experts? The cultivators who were watching the show were shocked. Everyone's eyes of the 2 sides. Dozens of powerful magic treasures. In an instant, he came for the kill. However, when those magic treasures were 1 meter away from the mummified old man, they all stopped. Those magic treasures seemed to be imprisoned in the void. No matter how hard the magic treasures, they seemed to be unable to move an inch. Everyone was petrified. The mummified old man was actually this powerful? The mummified old man stepped forward. An unimaginably terrifying aura spread out from the old man's body. That horrifying aura slammed into the group of top experts. Those top experts couldn't bear it. They were all sent flying. Wah! Many people vomited blood in midair. Their faces were pale. They couldn't even withstand a single blow. Oh my God! What did I just see? Countless people shouted in disbelief. Among those experts, there was no lack of experts at the peak of the Sage Realm. They were defeated so miserably. This was too shocking. However, all of this was real. The mummified old man was too terrifying. Greetings to all the heroes in the world, Lin Feng said excitedly. In the past, his father, Lin Beitian, defeated all the heroes in the world here. He suppressed many old antiques until they couldn't breathe. In the end, he entered the Supreme Divine Court. Now, the old man did the same thing. He defeated all the heroes in the world. Who could compete with him? The group of top-notch experts looked at the old man who looked like a mummy with an expression of extreme horror. The old man didn't attack them. Instead, he continued to walk toward the Supreme Divine Court. Those top experts avoided the old man as if he was a snake or a scorpion. They didn't dare to stop him. At this moment, their hearts were filled with bitterness. Experts like them stood at the peak of cultivation. Now, they had joined forces, but they couldn't deal with the old man. This was a huge blow to their confidence. Has he already transcended? An expert muttered to himself. Perhaps he had really transcended. Otherwise, how could he be so powerful? Lin Feng was also thinking about this. Had the mummified old man completed his transcendence? Could he really have transcended the Sage Realm? I don't know what that level is, but it's extremely rare. Even the Holy Emperors, Devil Lords, Pengu, Nuwa, and other existences haven't been able to transcend. They're stuck in the Sage Realm, and they've tried to break through to a higher level many times, but they've all failed. Since ancient times, it's very rare to hear of someone who's been able to transcend. Has he transcended? Wu Xuren couldn't help but sigh. The shock that the old man brought to everyone today was unparalleled. It was even difficult to describe with words. This kind of shock fiercely impacted everyone's heart. The old man walked step by step toward the Supreme Divine Court. His footsteps seemed to form a connection with the Supreme Divine Court. They formed a resonance with the Great Tao. Asterisk dong. Asterisk at this moment, the immortal sound of the Great Tao came from the Supreme Divine Court. Endless immortal light spewed out. Countless immortal laws intertwined in the void. Hurry up and comprehend the Tao, many cultivators exclaimed. Although they couldn't enter the Supreme Divine Court, it would be a great opportunity if they could comprehend the Tao. Lin Feng felt that perhaps this was the opportunity he had been waiting for. He could try and see if he could resonate with the Supreme Divine Court. He held the black jade talisman in his hand, sat cross-legged, and began to comprehend again. Tao Dai and Wu Xuren didn't disturb him. They were very nervous and hoped that Lin Feng could succeed. Asterisk buzz. Asterisk the black jade talisman in Lin Feng's hand vibrated violently. This is, Tao Tai and Wu Xuren couldn't help but show an extremely excited expression. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version of reading website. Chapter 55-22. At this moment, the power of an immortal Tao law surged out of the godly court, wrapping around Lin Feng and the other two. Their bodies quickly flew toward the godly court. Oh my God, we're rich. Tao Dai shouted excitedly. I didn't think I'd be the final winner. Ha 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 ha. Wu Xuren laughed. So many people were looking forward to entering the godly court, but they couldn't do it. Their cultivation was really nothing in this place. But they got the chance to enter the godly court. How could they not be excited? As for whether they would get another chance to enter the godly court, it was hard to say. Who knew when the doomsday battle would come? Perhaps it would come soon. When that time came, the world with the reverse time would be destroyed. Everything would be destroyed. This was the doomsday battle. It would destroy everything, destroy everything. Lin Feng and the other two flew toward the godly court. Naturally, many people saw them. Damn, what's going on? Someone exclaimed, puzzled. They seemed to have gotten an opportunity to enter the godly court. Someone said, "What? There's such a thing?" Many people were shocked. Then, they looked at Lin Feng and the other two with envy. "Destroy them," the old man said angrily. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He was too jealous of Lin Feng and the others. There was enmity between the two sides. Naturally, he wouldn't let Lin Feng and the others go. Several top experts attacked, sending terrifying attacks at Lin Feng and the other two. But their attacks were reflected by the immortal light surrounding Lin Feng and the others. "Ha ha ha, a bunch of shameless old things. You can be jealous all you want." Lin Feng laughed. The old man almost coughed up blood at Lin Feng's words. At this moment, the mummified old man entered the godly court. Something strange happened. The godly court shot out another beam of immortal light. This time, it wrapped around Meng Jiyao. Meng Jiyao also flew toward the godly court. Seeing Meng Jiyao quickly flying over, Lin Feng was very surprised. Meng Jiyao flew over. Didn't that mean Meng Jiyao also had the token? It seems like Meng Jiyao actually had two tokens, but she only took out one at that time. The next moment, Lin Feng and the other two entered the Supreme Divine Court. Dazzling light shone upon them. Lin Feng could not even open his eyes. When the blinding light dissipated, Lin Feng found that Tao Dai and Wu Shuren were gone. Beneath his feet was a huge lake. The surroundings were shrouded in immortal mist. "Where is this?" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Immediately after, Lin Feng revealed a shocked expression because the surface of the lake began to violently fluctuate. An illusory shadow appeared at the bottom of the lake. "Who are you?" Lin Feng asked. "I am the spirit of the Lake of Truth." The shadow said, "Lake of Truth? What kind of damned place is this?" Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. The Lake of Truth is not a damned place. It is a place where you can resolve the doubts in your heart. When you enter the godly court, the immortal laws of the godly court will send you to different places based on your deepest thoughts. Since you have been sent to the Lake of Truth, it means that you have many doubts that you want to resolve, but you are powerless to do so. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. "Does that mean you can help me resolve the doubts in my heart?" "Of course," the shadow said. It then added, "However, not all doubts can be solved. I can reconstruct the process of some things, but there is one thing you need to give me. Only then can I reconstruct the situation at that time." "Hee, I really do have some things I want to know." Lin Feng took out the mysterious box. Lin Feng's understanding of the box was limited to the dismembered corpse inside. It was the corpse of a cultivator surnamed Yi. Other than that, he didn't know anything else. For example, who had forged the mysterious box? Another example, who had placed the dismembered corpse inside the mysterious box? These were all unknown. Today, this should be enough to resolve the doubts, right? This is. The shadow seemed to be very surprised when it saw the mysterious box. It seemed that it recognized the mysterious box. "Do you recognize this thing?" Lin Feng asked.
Yes.
The shadow said. "Can you tell me who forged it and who the dismembered corpse inside is? Who placed the dismembered corpse inside the mysterious box?" Lin Feng said. "Let's look and talk." The shadow said. Then, the surface of the lake rippled. Many scenes appeared. It was a world of destruction. Many things were being destroyed. A great war broke out. It was extremely tragic. Palaces were destroyed one after another. Many cultivators died tragically. In the black fog, a cultivator carrying another cultivator quickly rushed out. "Yu Shang, you can't escape." A cold voice was heard. Several ancient existences chased after him. It was hard to imagine how strong they were. Their auras were too terrifying. Lin Feng even felt that the auras of these experts were not any weaker than the mummified old man. "What world is this?" Lin Feng asked.
Wasteland.
The shadow said. Lin Feng was shocked. Wasteland. This was actually the wasteland. This shocked him. "Who is Yu Shang?" Lin Feng asked. "The injured person is Yu Shang. In the past, he was a ruler of the wasteland." The shadow said. "A ruler of the wasteland? That means the one chasing after him is also a ruler of the wasteland?" Lin Feng said in shock.
Yes.
The shadow said. Lin Feng was shocked. The wasteland was very mysterious and cruel. This ruler of the wasteland called Yushang was surrounded by 4 rulers and was severely injured. The bloody hole in his chest almost shattered his heart, even though he was extremely strong. Now, he seemed to be unable to hold on. F***CK. I didn't expect to fall into your trap. I've been unhindered my entire life, but I was actually tricked by you bastards.
Yushang cursed at them.
Uncle you, ignore them. Hurry up and protect your heart. The cultivator carrying Yushang said, Yimo, put me down and leave by yourself. With your strength, you can definitely leave. Yushang said. Yimo said, how can I leave Uncle you behind and leave by myself? Eventually, Yushang fainted and was placed in an ice cave by the cultivator called Yimo. He lured the 4 rulers away. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile version. Chapter 55:23. Where did you put him? The 4 rulers asked coldly after catching up to Yimo. Yimo shrugged. I really can't tell you that. Since that's the case, only death awaits you, said one of the sovereigns with an indifferent expression. Yimo said, I ran before because it wasn't convenient to fight you guys with Uncle you. But now, I don't need to worry about that. Brat, you think too highly of yourself. Just because you have a little bit of ability, you think you can contend against us? What a joke. One of the sovereigns sneered. We'll only know if we try. Yimo's face was indifferent. Boom. The battle immediately erupted. Yimo fought with the 4 rulers. What kind of terrifying existence was the ruler of the wasteland? His combat strength was heaven-defying. Now that the wasteland overlord had made his move, the battle prowess he displayed was truly terrifying. Heaven and earth seemed like they were about to be pierced through. All kinds of divine abilities were dazzling. However, Yimo was able to negate the attack. This was truly hard to believe. The most shocking thing was that Yimo not only dispelled the 4 rulers' attacks, but also beat them back. If the 4 sovereigns of the wasteland joined forces, they would definitely be invincible. However, he was repelled by a young cultivator. The 4 hegemons of the wastelands were unable to accept this. Who are you? The expressions of the 4 rulers were extremely gloomy. Something was wrong with today's situation. This young cultivator before them was simply too terrifying. I'm Yimo, Yimo said. You are from the Yi clan? The Kunlun universe's Yi clan? One of the sovereigns' expression instantly turned ugly. The Kunlun universe was the head of the 4 universes. The Yi family of the Kunlun universe was the absolute ruler of the Kunlun universe. It was rumored that the current head of the Yi family suppressed the changes in the Kunlun universe when the Kunlun universe changed. From then on, the Yi family, they became the number 1 family in the Kunlun universe. This was a force that no one dared to provoke. Soon, however, the sovereign began to laugh coldly. So what if it's the Yi clan? The Yi clan isn't invincible. There are people who can deal with them. The 4 continued to use God art against Yimo. Yimo walked up and a huge star map appeared in his body. This was the cultivation of meridians. In fact, Lin Feng already had some understanding of meridian cultivation, but he had yet to truly delve into it. Meridian cultivation was a profound cultivation method. It was also a very difficult cultivation method. Meridian cultivation, it could allow one to transcend and transform. There were many people who could truly complete the meridian cultivation. Even the ruler of the wasteland could not do it. But Yimo did it. A star map flew out of Yimo's body. The starry sky map pressed down on the 4 sovereigns. Bang, 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 bang. When the 4 hegemons collided with the star diagram, they were actually knocked back by the star diagram. The 4 juggernauts' expressions instantly turned ugly. Yimo, as expected of someone from the Yi clan. At this moment, a cold voice sounded. Next, an entity shrouded in darkness stepped out. Upon seeing this existence, Lin Feng sucked in a breath of cold air. That kind of evil aura was really too terrifying. The mastermind behind the scenes. This existence was definitely the mastermind behind the scenes. Lin Feng knew that there was more than one mastermind behind the scenes. The strongest mastermind behind the scenes was the ultimate ruler of the mastermind's world. However, the other masterminds also had unimaginable power and were almost immortal. Seeing the mastermind come out, Yimo said, as I guessed, There was a terrifying existence hibernating in the void. Now, you finally came out. The mastermind said, I didn't plan to come out, but if I didn't, the four sovereigns wouldn't be able to do anything to you. Yemo said coldly, you let the four sovereigns ambush my uncle you. What is your goal? Hee, my goal is simple. I'm only one step away from immortality. I've heard that Yu Shang has a talisman. If I get that talisman, I'll be able to obtain the secret of immortality in the door of everlasting life. The mastermind said, if someone like you can't die, it'll be an extremely tragic thing for this epoch, Yemo said coldly. Ye clan brat, your clan controls the order of the Kuan Luan universe. My family controls the order of the 9 continents universe. Although the 9 continents universe is not ranked as high as the Kunlun universe, the foundation of the Yi family is too weak. If it wasn't for an earth-shattering figure in the Yi family would be nothing but an ant in front of my family. However, I can give face to the strong cultivator of your family and spare your life, but you must tell me where Yu Shang is. If you don't cooperate with me, then even the face of the strong cultivator of the Yi family won't be enough to protect you. The mastermind said, Hee, you want me to tell you Uncle Yu's location? That's wishful thinking. I also want to experience the god arts of your clan. Yemo said coldly. Okay. The mastermind's face was cold as he raised his right hand and slapped at Yemo suddenly. A gigantic palm appeared in the void. It was a gigantic palm. It instantly turned into a claw that seemed to be able to destroy the world. It clawed at Yemo break. Yemo yelled and controlled the star map to sweep towards that huge claw. Thud. The starry sky map and the huge claw collided fiercely, and the void was shattered by the impact of the collision. Such a clash was really shocking. You have some power. The mastermind sneered and turned into a black ray. That black ray, it was as though it could split the universe. It hacked at the star map. Yemo controlled the star map to sweep at the black ray. Splurge. With that tearing sound, Yemo's star map was sliced open by the black ray. Then, the culprit turned into a black ray and flew towards Yemo. It instantly came before Yemo and hacked at Yemo, heaven's annihilation. Yemo roared and punched out. Under the attack of that punch, the heavens seemed to be about to be annihilated. That punch was simply too powerful. Thud. Yemo's punch clashed with the black ray. Something shocking happened. Even someone as powerful as the black ray was smashed away by Yemo's punch. Previous loading. Next chapters. Chapter 55-24. Yemo's power was too strong. He even repelled the mastermind. It was hard to imagine how strong Yemo was. The mastermind was clearly someone who had crossed epochs, but he couldn't get the upper hand against the rather young Yemo. This infuriated the mastermind. His eyes flickered with dense killing intent. He wasn't going to admit his failure. After turning into his main body, the mastermind looked coldly at Yemo and said, I underestimated your means. Now, I will let you see the true supreme art of my race. The mastermind waved his hands. It wasn't a spell, but its power was unimaginable. After waving his hands a few times, the mastermind pushed with his right hand. Thud. With the sound of the collision, a formless power smashed into Yemo's chest. Yemo was sent flying. He didn't know what kind of method the mastermind had used to create such a tyrannical power. Moreover, this method was so strange. It was really inconceivable. At this moment, the mastermind made his move again, sending out palm after palm strike. Thud, thud, thud. The mastermind's attacks landed on Yemo's body. Yemo kept retreating. The mastermind was very hard to deal with indeed. His battle power was terrifying. Such a powerful god art. Watch how I break it. Yemo's voice was cold as he walked up. All the meridians in his body seemed to have awakened. These meridians exuded extremely violent fluctuations that caused people to be alarmed. And what was more shocking was that there were gods sitting cross-legged in those meridians. It wasn't very hard to give birth to gods in meridians. But the hard part was that those meridians in Yemo's body were all giving birth to gods. This was too hard. It was like a myth. It seemed Yemo had cultivated the meridian diagram to an extremely high level. That was why those acupoints gave birth to gods one after another. The mastermind's attack came again, but the attack was devoured by those meridians. Glory of gods! Suddenly, a low voice sounded in the world. The voice seemed to come from Yimo's body. Those voices were the combined voices of many gods, just like the divine voice of the heavenly Tao. The power of the gods fused with Yimo's power. World of peace! Yimo yelled. He used an ultimate technique. The Age of Peace was a divine ability created by the strongest of the Yi clan. Since that battle, the Kunlun universe had entered a period of rapid development. All the major forces lived in harmony. It appeared to be a peaceful and prosperous world. Everyone was like a dragon, and everyone could cultivate. Everyone was like a dragon and could become an immortal. This was the era of peace and prosperity. This mystique was definitely a world-shaking one. When the Age of Peace mystique was unleashed, the entire world would tremble. A dazzling beam of light condensed and blasted toward the mastermind. The expression of the mastermind changed abruptly. The mastermind didn't dare to be careless and quickly formed a defense barrier to stop Yimo's attack. It was an extremely powerful defense god art. On the defensive light shield, there were countless runes. Each rune contained a shocking power. But the Age of Peace god art was too powerful. It directly destroyed the defense of the mastermind. It smashed into the body of the mastermind. The mastermind seemed to be struck by lightning and was blasted away. Then, he spat out large mouthfuls of blood. However, although the Age of Peace god art was powerful, it consumed too much of the body's energy. After sending the mastermind flying, Yimo didn't use the Age of Peace god art again. Instead, he unleashed another divine ability, causing many of the gods in his body to fly out at high speed. Those gods, they were as fast as lightning. They charged at the mastermind. In an instant, he arrived in front of the mastermind. It was too late for the mastermind to dodge. Under the attack of the gods, the mastermind's body exploded. I'm one of the 9 great sovereigns of my clan. I'm an undying existence. No one can kill me. The mastermind roared angrily, and the exploded body started to twist and contort. It was as though he was about to be reborn. You're not an undying existence. Yimo's voice was cold. He quickly flew over. A heaven flame appeared in Yimo's hand. The heavenly fire instantly enveloped the struggling culprit behind the scenes. Arg, you dare to kill me? Hurry up and let me go, or you'll die even more miserably. The mastermind roared. Yimo didn't intend to let the mastermind go. The 4 sovereigns' faces suddenly changed. They all charged at Yimo. Before, they didn't join up with the mastermind. They believed that if they joined up with the mastermind, they would be able to kill Yimo. They could kill Yimo for sure, but now that the mastermind was suppressed, they couldn't join hands with the mastermind to attack Yimo. Their only hope now was to rescue the mastermind behind the scenes. But it was too late. Yimo's heaven flame was very terrifying. It burned the mastermind to dust. The 4 sovereigns charged over. Their faces were extremely bleak. They joined up to attack Yimo. After the battle, Yimo's battle power fell quite a bit. He didn't plan to keep fighting with the 4 sovereigns. Yimo broke free from the 4 sovereigns and quickly flew away. But at this moment, a terrifying chi filled the world. Demonic chi rumbled violently. In the demonic chi, a gigantic human face appeared in the air. Seeing that huge face, Yimo's face suddenly changed. What a Yi family child! You've only cultivated for 10,000 years and killed one of my race's sovereigns. This is unbelievable. If you cultivate for a few 100,000 years, what would happen? The terrifying being looked coldly at Yimo. Who are you? Yimo asked coldly. Ha 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 ha. The huge face laughed. I was born. The universe wasn't born. The oceans dried up. Countless eras rose and fell. In this universe, there's no being older than me. It's you. Yimo's face changed. He knew who this terrifying being was. He was the mastermind that made countless people's faces pale, the ruler of the world. He was the ultimate being of the mastermind's world. He destroyed epics and reborn them. Chapter 55-25. It seems you've heard of my name. I didn't want to kill you, but you killed one of my supreme masters. In order to protect the honor of my race, you must die. The huge face said coldly. He was like a death god that walked out of hell. His appearance turned the entire world into a purgatory world. He opened his mouth and spat. A cold ray flew out and attacked Yimo. Runes interweaved in Yimo's body. The dense runes protected Yimo's body. Clank. The huge face's attack smashed into Yimo's body. The huge face's attack was extremely terrifying. Yimo was smashed away, but he was no ordinary person. Even though he was smashed away, the runes didn't break. The huge face sneered. He spat out another cold ray. That cold ray was even stronger and instantly came before Yimo. Slicing towards Yimo, Yimo wanted to dodge, but he couldn't. That cold ray swept Yimo's body and sent him flying. Yimo coughed up blood. Master's god art is invincible. The four rulers couldn't help but say. These four hegemons had clearly already submitted to the hegemon behind the scenes. Yimo knew the situation wasn't good. He couldn't hold back or he would die for sure. Thinking about this, Yimo couldn't help but grit his teeth. His eyes flashed with bleak coldness. Have a taste of my self-created ultimate art. Yimo's voice was cold. He walked towards the huge face step by step. Yimo's chi grew stronger and stronger. The meridians in Yimo's body appeared again. Then, those dense meridians started to fuse. This was an extremely shocking scene. The fact that the acupoints could fuse with each other was something that had never been seen or heard of before. However, the fact that the acupoints could really fuse with each other was truly incredible. Eventually, the meridians in Yimo's body fused into one. I will become one, Yimo said. One was Tao. Tao was one. So now, Yimo had become Tao. This was Yimo's own Tao. A Tao that surpassed the heavenly Tao. Yimo quickly charged towards the huge face. The huge face spat out many attacks at Yimo. However, those attacks were instantly devoured by Yimo's merged meridian points. Yimo turned into an eternal dark whirlpool. That huge vortex was like a space-time black hole, emitting an aura that made people tremble. The black vortex smashed into the human face. Bang! The human face actually exploded. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Then, the black whirlpool turned into Yimo's original body. Yimo panted heavily. He was extremely tired. This kind of absolute art was too taxing on the body. Moreover, Yimo used peace prosperity before. Continuously using this kind of top-notch technique would cause the body's mana to be depleted extremely quickly. Yimo looked around vigilantly. But at this moment, endless darkness appeared and devoured Yimo. Kikik. A sinister laugh came from the darkness. What I love the most is killing up-and-coming youngsters like you. You are very powerful, so powerful that even I am shocked. But so what? You still can't escape death. Are you ready to die? The huge face's voice sounded. His voice was so eerie and terrifying. Yimo kept struggling, but he couldn't break free. So what if he had destroyed the gigantic face formed by the mastermind behind the scenes? The mastermind behind the scenes, the Sovereign Lord, was an immortal and indestructible existence. No matter how many times he died, he could revive. But others couldn't. Others would die once. Then, he would die and his Tao would disappear. Void severing. Yimo yelled coldly and tore open the void, disappearing with the darkness that enveloped him. Eventually, they came to the outer realm. Kid, you don't need to struggle. You can't struggle at all. The huge face's cold voice came from the darkness. Even if I die, my will is still there. Sooner or later, I'll come back, said Lin Feng. Yimo's cold voice sounded. Rumble. Then, there was a huge explosion. Yimo chose to self-destruct. The darkness was blown away. Not long after, the darkness condensed again and an eerie voice sounded. Damn it, you really deserve to die. As powerful as the mastermind of the mastermind's world, although he was immortal and indestructible, he would still be injured. Some special injuries, such as injuries to the divine soul or origin, would have a greater impact on him. Yimo's self-destruction injured him. So, he became exasperated. After an unknown amount of time, a divine light appeared in the outer realm. There seemed to be a cultivator in the divine light, but one couldn't see what that cultivator looked like. That cultivator walked all over the heavens. He was looking for broken corpses.
As long as my will doesn't die, I can exist forever.
Just wait for the right time to return. A voice sounded from within the holy light. It was a man's voice. It was like an ancient voice that floated between the heavens and earth. He collected the broken corpses and put them into the metal box. Then, he sealed the metal box. He didn't put the metal box away. Instead, he put the metal box in the endless outer realm. The 6 paths of reincarnation of this era might be able to help you. The mysterious expert couldn't help but mutter to himself. He used the 6 paths of reincarnation and created 6 huge black holes. The 6 black holes represented the 6 paths. The 6 huge black holes fused together and instantly devoured the mysterious metal box. Then, all the scenes disappeared. This was the origin of the mysterious metal box and the broken corpses. Seeing these scenes, Lin Feng was speechless for a long time. So, the mastermind of the mastermind's world. He was actually such a powerful existence. In the universe, the most ancient existence. Before the universe appeared, he had already appeared. Just how strong was this existence? Lin Feng didn't dare to guess. But Yimo was really strong. Especially his attack. He actually destroyed the mastermind's ruler. However, the mastermind's ruler was undying and indestructible. In fact, some amazing existences, such as his ancestor Ji Zishu, had the power to destroy him. They seemed to have the power to destroy the mastermind's ruler. But in the end, they still died in the hands of the mastermind. Because the mastermind's ruler was undying and indestructible, no one was a match for him. Anyone who dared to go against the mastermind's ruler would definitely die. Genius 1 second. Remember this site address. Mobile version reading website. Chapter 55-26. Lin Feng looked at the mysterious metal box in his hand. Yimo, there would be a day when he would return? That day, when would it come? If there really was a day when he would return, Lin Feng hoped that it would be before the Armageddon War. If he could return before the Armageddon War, it would be a great help to Lin Feng and the others. However, no one knew when that day would come. Do you have anything else you want to ask about the mysterious metal box? The shadow asked. Lin Feng shook his head and said, I have some other questions I want to ask you. The shadow said, Sorry, I can't help you with that. Why? Lin Feng asked. The shadow said, Because I can only help others with one thing. I've already helped you with the mysterious metal box, so I won't help you with anything else. When Lin Feng heard the shadow, he was speechless. You didn't tell me I could only ask one thing, said the shadow. You didn't ask me, the shadow said.
Fine.
Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. However, although he could only ask one question, it was indeed one of the questions he wanted to know the most. Therefore, he wouldn't have any regrets. Fortunately, he didn't ask any other random questions. Otherwise, he would have been screwed. Lin Feng asked, Then what should I do next? You can go and take something. I can show you the way. Have you thought about what you want? The shadow asked. Lin Feng was a little depressed. He could only take one thing. How stingy. Lin Feng thought for a moment and said, I want to take a treasure that can activate my 4th bloodline. The 4th bloodline was Lin Feng's greatest secret. Lin Feng had always wanted to activate his 4th blood. He wanted to see what kind of blood it was. However, Lin Feng hadn't found a way to do so yet. Perhaps it could be done in the Supreme Divine Court? If you can get a bloodline stone, you can activate your 4th bloodline, the shadow said. Lin Feng nodded. Bloodline stone? What's that? Where is it? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Since the shadow mentioned it, the Supreme Divine Court should be able to activate it. In that case, there should be something like that in the Godly Court. Maybe he really did have to activate the 4th bloodline. Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but become excited. If he could activate his 4th bloodline, it would be heaven-defying. The bloodline stone is a blood-colored stone. It has a blood-colored dragon scale-like pattern on the outside. It is said to be able to activate any bloodline. The bloodline stone is in the depths of the Supreme Divine Court, but I don't know where it is. F***CK. You don't even know where the stone is? Are you lying? Asked Lin Feng asked. He should have said, Do you think I need to lie to you? The shadow was right. There was no need to lie to him. Lin Feng was speechless. You only know that there is such a thing, but you don't even know where it is. What's the use of it? The shadow said, even if you know where it is, you won't be able to get it. Why do you say that? Asked Lin Feng. The shadow said, you can't enter the depths of the supreme divine court. Even many top-notch saints aren't qualified to enter. What's going on?
Lin Feng couldn't help but frown.
Hee, these are the rules. The shadow said. Lin Feng felt helpless. If that was the case, then he was destined to not be able to obtain the bloodline stone. Where can I go? Asked Lin Feng. The place you can go is the area under my control. The shadow said. Lin Feng thought for a moment and said, I want an ancient weapon. Sorry, I don't have it here. The ancient weapon is in the depths. Ugh. Lin Feng felt depressed again. The Supreme Divine Court was really a scam. All kinds of things were divided into different areas. If you want to divide them into different areas, then so be it. There were even restrictions on cultivation levels. Lin Feng couldn't help but think, what should he want? Bloodline evolution was out of the question. Should he want an immortal scripture? Or perhaps he needed a heavenly treasure to break through his cultivation base. What did he want? Lin Feng felt conflicted. I want a heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng suddenly thought of the heaven-shaking steel. He had 2 heaven-shaking steels, one yin and one yang. Unfortunately, Lin Feng hadn't been able to comprehend the secrets of the steels, and one of them was damaged. It hadn't been completely repaired. A heaven-shaking steel? Kid, you have the nerve to ask for one. The shadow said, somewhat speechless. Lin Feng said, what's there to be embarrassed about? Who made the rule that I can't have a heaven-shaking steel? Hurry up and give it to me. Where do I have a heaven-shaking steel? Said the shadow. Damn, you don't have anything you want. Why are you doing so poorly? Lin Feng said disdainfully. The heaven-shaking steel is comparable to the Supreme Divine Court and the door of everlasting life. Do you think it's possible for a heaven-shaking steel to appear in the Supreme Divine Court? Said the shadow. Lin Feng said, I've heard of such rumors before, but why do I feel like they're nonsense? How can a heaven-shaking steel compare to the Supreme Divine Court and the door of everlasting life? Although the heaven-shaking steel has some immortal scriptures and legacies on it, it still can't compare to the Supreme Divine Court and the door of everlasting life, right? What do you know? Said the shadow. Then tell me, what's so special about the heaven-shaking steel? Asked Lin Feng. Said the shadow. Kid, are you trying to get information from me? Why should I tell you? Said Lin Feng. I'm not trying to get information from you. I'm just curious, don't you know? Said the shadow. Fine, it's been a long time since someone has come to see me, so I'll say a few more words. After pausing for a moment, the shadow continued. After the steel is separated, its power is not obvious. The reason why it's so powerful is because it can fuse with the other 18 steels. After that, it turns into a gigantic heaven-shaking steel. When the 18 sky-shaking stone steels fuse together, it'll be incredible. Not only will the sky-shaking stone steels possess incredible offensive strength, but most importantly, there are countless inheritances recorded on them. The 3,000 Grandaos and the Supreme Immortal Scriptures are just child's play because they're only the inheritances of one epoch. As far as I know, the sky-shaking stone tablets have at least 3,000 epochs worth of inheritances. You can find the top inheritances of any epoch on the sky-shaking stone tablets. You can imagine that if you collect 18 sky-shaking stone tablets, then you'll be able to learn all the top inheritances of 3,000 epochs. At that time, nobody will be a match for you, and you'll be able to easily kill the mastermind. Please remember the domain name of this book, mobile version of this book. Chapter 55-27. The heaven-shaking steels are awesome. Once you gather all of them, you will be invincible in this world. But who knows how to gather all of them? Lin Feng couldn't help but say helplessly. Then, he continued, moreover, I heard that the heaven-shaking steels are in the past, present, and future. It will be even more difficult to find the heaven-shaking steels. Therefore, I don't have much hope in finding the heaven-shaking steels, Lin Feng said. What he said was from the bottom of his heart. Lin Feng didn't have much hope in finding the heaven-shaking steels because they were too difficult to find. Moreover, Lin Feng knew that some of the heaven-shaking steels had already given birth to their own spirituality. Those heaven-shaking steels weren't easy to subdue. If the heaven-shaking steels didn't recognize a master, it would be useless even if you found them. The shadow said, "There is one thing you don't know. As the saying goes, the world will unite after being separated for a long time. In fact, the heaven-shaking steels are the same. They will unite after being separated for a long time. Although the heaven-shaking steels are scattered all over the world, they will have a chance to unite at the end of the epoch. However, I don't know who can unite the heaven-shaking steels. I guess that there is definitely more than one person who can control the heaven-shaking steels. Among these people, there will definitely be someone who can stand out, but it's hard to say who that person is." After hearing the shadow's words, Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. Then, he felt relieved. Lin Feng believed the person who stood out in the end would definitely be him. If there was really a chance to gather the heaven-shaking steels, then it would be heaven-defying. Lin Feng was very much looking forward to the arrival of this day. However, now wasn't the time to think about this. He needed to think about what he could get from the shadow. Lin Feng thought about a lot of things. However, he was still somewhat hesitant. "I want the immortal scriptures." In the end, Lin Feng made a decision. Immortal scriptures were very rare and very difficult to collect. Lin Feng decided that it would be more cost-effective to obtain them. "Whose immortal scriptures do you want?" the shadow asked. "Whose immortal scriptures do you have?" Lin Feng asked. "Many," the shadow said. "Panga's immortal scriptures, Yuanshi immortal scriptures, and so on and so forth." "Pangu and Yuanshi Tianzuan are the same person? How come there are different immortal scriptures?" asked Lin Feng asked. Pangu was the incarnation of Yuanshi Tianzuan. When Pangu existed in this form, he created the Pangu immortal scriptures. Tianzuan, 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 Unshur Tians. Tianjia Un when Tianjia Un Zushur Tianzian, Tianzuan. Tianzhuang Tians Tians Ashur Tians. Tianjas Tianjan Tianzier Tians. Tians Tians Ashur Tians, SZT. Tianzan Shurs Tians ZT Tians Tians. ZT ZT Z. Of course, then Z1 ZT ZT because Zu of ZT of Tians Immortal Z. ZTE. I want the Yuanshi immortal scriptures. Where is the Yuanshi immortal scriptures? Asked Lin Feng. At that moment, a crane flew over from afar. Upon closer inspection, it was not a real crane. It was probably a crane condensed from immortal qi. The shadow said, "Follow the crane and you'll find the Yuanshi immortal scriptures." Lin Feng asked, "Once I learn the Yuanshi immortal scriptures, how do I get out?" "The laws here will send you out. But don't worry. The laws here will send you far away. You don't have to worry about being blocked," said the shadow. "Thank you. We'll meet again someday," said Lin Feng. The shadow said, "I guess we won't meet again. Maybe we won't have the chance to meet again." Lin Feng said, "That won't happen. I'll definitely come back." The shadow curled its lips and said, "You're pretty confident." Lin Feng waved at the shadow. Then, he chased after the crane. The crane brought Lin Feng away from the lake and stopped beside a cliff. Lin Feng looked at the cliff and realized that there were many runes on it. Those runes seemed to record the Yuanshi immortal scriptures. Lin Feng used his godly awareness to communicate with those talismans. Then, a smile appeared on Lin Feng's face. Because those runes really did record the Yuanshi immortal scriptures. Lin Feng memorized all the runes in his mind. Those runes formed the complete Yuanshi immortal scriptures. At that moment, a ball of immortal light enveloped Lin Feng. When Lin Feng appeared again, he was already outside the Supreme Divine Court. Looking into the distance, he could still see the Supreme Divine Court between heaven and earth. The Supreme Divine Court's aura was mysterious, powerful, and eternal. However, Lin Feng did not continue to stay here. With a move of his spiritual will, he flew out of the space and time where the Supreme Divine Court was located. After coming out, Lin Feng discovered that Tao Tai and Wu Shuren had already come out. They must have gained a lot, but Lin Feng did not ask them what they had gained. We'll probably become the target of public criticism, so I plan to leave, Wu Shiren said. Lin Feng nodded and said, I also plan to leave. It's time to return to the real world. We'll meet again when I go to the devil world. All right, Wu Shiren nodded. Lin Feng, Tao Tai, and Wu Shiren parted ways. Lin Feng did not directly return to the real world. Instead, he went to look for Hong Yu, the holy beast, and the others. Lin Feng planned to bring Hong Yu back to the Undying Realm. Tao Tai also planned to follow Lin Feng back. If the holy beast and the others also followed Lin Feng back, it would be even better. Half a year later, Lin Feng finally met up with Hong Yu and the others. After seeing Lin Feng, Hong Yu was incomparably excited. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. Naturally, it was a shameless and sleepless night. The next day, Lin Feng asked the others. Only the holy beast planned to leave with Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not force the others. In the end, Lin Feng, Hong Yu, Tao Tai, and the holy beast left the world of time reversal together. They returned to the real world. Genius. Remember this site's address in a second. Chapter 55-28. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. Someone had already entered the Pangu mystery domain. Others had entered with Pangu's token, and those people might be Pangu's successors. It was normal. Huangfu Qingtian wouldn't be the only successor of an existence like Pangu. He would definitely have several successors, and in the end, these successors would compete for Pangu's ultimate legacy. Of course, different successors would inherit different things, and the order would definitely be different. For example, Huangfu Qingtian might have obtained an extraordinary legacy, so he was now the first successor of Pangu. The others might be second, third, fourth, and so on. They were all behind Huangfu Qingtian. In theory, Huangfu Qingtian had the highest chance of obtaining Pangu's legacies. However, this was only a theoretical possibility. Perhaps someone else would suddenly appear and plunder the heaven-defying fortune to obtain Pangu's legacies. Now, Lin Feng had to find a way to enter the Pangu mystery domain. If he couldn't even enter the Pangu mystery domain, then there was no need to talk about obtaining Pangu's legacy. It was simply a daydream. Lin Feng tried to see if he could enter the Pangu mystery domain with the help of the primitive Immortal Sutra, but he didn't gain anything. It seemed that the primitive Immortal Sutra couldn't help him enter the Pangu mystery domain. Not long after, news spread that someone had a token to enter the Pangu mystery domain, but to enter, one had to prepare 100 million high-grade immortal stones. This wasn't a world where time had reversed. Even in a world where time had reversed, 100 million high-grade immortal stones was a sky-high price, let alone in the Undying Realm. This news caused a great uproar. Someone tried to bargain, and the other party finally set the price at 30 million high-grade immortal stones. And the quota was limited. 3 days later, the person with the token would appear and lead a group of people to the Pangu mystery domain. After learning this news, Lin Feng was very happy. If the other party could really bring them into the Pangu mystery domain, 30 million high-grade immortal stones was nothing to Lin Feng. It was just a drop in the ocean. Next, he just had to wait. More and more people came to the Pangu mystery domain. Perhaps the Pangu mystery domain won't appear and will always be in this illusory state. Only a few fated people can enter it. The rest are destined to have no chance to enter and can only sigh. An old cultivator said, "Yes, I have to admit that this is really a rather depressing matter." Someone said. Many people were talking about the Pangu arcane dimension. But that night, something terrible happened. Leaving. The companions of the dead cultivators were chatting with them just a moment ago. All he did was turn his head. When he turned back to chat with them, their companion was already dead. This kind of thing was too strange, so it instantly aroused the vigilance of countless people. Some people thought that the other party was playing a prank at first, but after careful inquiry, they found out that all of this was true, and it was not a prank by the other party. This was too terrifying, and it made people tremble. It was really strange. Where did they go? Why did they disappear in an instant? Only their clothes were left? What did that mean? Lin Feng rubbed his chin. He didn't find anything special. The way these people died was really strange. Curse. It must be a curse. Someone shouted in horror. Is it the curse of the island of the dead souls? Someone asked in a trembling voice. Yes, it's the curse of the island of the dead souls. Someone else replied. The cultivators who dared to enter the deathly silent sea naturally didn't believe in the legends of the island of the dead souls. However, what was happening in front of them was too strange. No one could explain what was happening in front of them. Therefore, sometimes, they had to believe in some things even if they didn't want to. For example, what was happening before their eyes? It doesn't feel like a curse, Lin Feng said. Why do you say that? Someone asked Lin Feng. Can you feel the power of the curse? Lin Feng said. Everyone shook their heads. Lin Feng continued, even if the power of the curse dissipates very quickly, it's impossible for us not to feel it, right? Yes, what this little brother says makes sense. Someone else agreed. Many people needed to find a way to vent their emotions. Lin Feng's words comforted them. Actually, the main reason was that the curse was too terrifying. They didn't want to believe that it was the power of the curse. If they did, it would mean that they would be attacked by the curse. That was an extremely terrifying thing. At that moment, an old man said, there's a powerful magnetic field around the Pangu's secret dimension that can block a cultivator's perception of many powers. The power of the curse is strange to begin with. Coupled with the magnetic field, even if the curse is really causing trouble, it might be able to deceive everyone. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly when he heard the old man's words. Lin Feng had considered this problem before. When he heard the old man's words, he didn't refute it. However, Lin Feng had a vague feeling that it wasn't the curse that was causing trouble. Lin Feng had always been extremely confident in his intuition. However, Lin Feng didn't say anything else. Even if he explained, the others might not necessarily believe him. Let's run, a cultivator said in a trembling voice. A cultivator said with a trembling voice, unwilling to stay here any longer. Let's go. We have to leave this place immediately. Another cultivator agreed. Thus, some cultivators who didn't want to stay here any longer decided to leave. It's nighttime. It's not good to fly over the sea. Someone reminded them. It's still better than staying here, someone else said. The others didn't say anything else. The others did not say anything else. Tens of cultivators banded together and flew into the distance, wanting to leave this place. However, they only flew for a few dozen miles before they stopped. What's going on? Many people were puzzled. Even though it was nighttime, they could still see what was going on more than 10 miles away. After all, the cultivators who came here were very strong, and their night vision was extremely shocking. The bodies of the dozens of cultivators suddenly became extremely stiff. Then, they let out shrill cries. A moment later, something terrifying happened. Those people's bodies actually melted instantly. In the end, everyone's bodies melted, leaving only their clothes floating above the sea. Chapter 55:29. You actually came out alive? Why didn't you die in there? What a pity. After Lin Feng came out, Huang Tianyi's voice suddenly rang out, but he didn't show himself. Lin Feng smiled and said, You're not dead yet, so how can I die? Even if I die, I'll die later than you. You. Huang Tianyi was quite angry at Lin Feng's words, and his eyes flashed coldly from time to time. However, in the end, he still endured it. There was nothing he could do even if he didn't want to. After all, he couldn't afford to offend Lin Feng. Huang Tianyi didn't want to be enemies with Lin Feng's father, Lin Beitian. Lin Feng smiled and said, Let's not talk about other things. I still have to thank you for sending me into the time reversal world. Don't worry, I won't forget you. When I become rich in the future, I'll take care of you. F***CK. Huang Tianyi couldn't help but curse. What kind of terrifying existence was he? Why would he need Lin Feng to take care of him? What a joke. Huang Tianyi said sarcastically, Then should I thank you for taking care of me? Lin Feng smiled and said, There's no need to thank me. However, if you really want to thank me, I can reluctantly accept your gratitude. In the future, I'll let you be my guard. A guard was a guard in a nicer way, but in a more unpleasant way, wasn't he just a lackey? What kind of terrifying existence was Huang Tiandi? How could he be someone else's lackey? When Huang Tiandi heard Lin Feng's words, he wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into pieces. Huang Tiandi said unhappily, "Hurry up and leave. I still have to cultivate." "Well, Huang Tiandi, I'm leaving. Let's meet again someday." Lin Feng said. "We'll meet again, my ass. Never again." Huang Tiandi couldn't help but think fiercely. He really didn't want to meet Lin Feng again. In Heavenly Emperor Huang's view, Lin Feng was a complete scourge. After leaving the desolate Sky Ridge, Lin Feng met up with Du Zhu and the heretical sovereign Holy Emperor. "Where is Lung Zixi?" Lin Feng asked. Because he had entered the time reversal world before, although he had stayed inside for many years, after coming out, time had returned to the time when he had entered the time reversal world. Therefore, from the time Lin Feng stepped into the desolate Sky Ridge to the time he left, it had only taken him slightly more than 10 days. It hadn't been long, but Lung Zixi had disappeared, which made Lin Feng extremely suspicious. Du Zhu smiled bitterly. "Her father took her away." "Her father took her away?" Lin Feng frowned. He remembered that Lung Zixi had told him about her background, such as her family's misfortune, how she had escaped, and so on. Now it seems like he was lying, right? Du Zhu said. "Before she left, she told me to tell you that if you go to the wasteland, you must find her." "Where can I find her? Did she tell you?" Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat as he asked. Du Zhu replied, "She didn't say anything about that." Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. What kind of world was the wasteland? Lin Feng didn't know. However, he could imagine how dangerous and chaotic that world was. Moreover, the power of the mastermind had already taken root in the wasteland. Therefore, even if he went to the wasteland, where to find Lung Zixi was still a problem. However, there would always be a way when the car reached the mountain. It was too early to consider going to the wasteland, so there was no need to consider it so early. He would think about it when he reached the wasteland. Lin Feng and the others returned to the Sin domain together. With the addition of an alchemy grandmaster like Hong Yuer, the Sin domain was like a tiger that had grown wings. The pills that Hong Yuer refined might be able to save the lives of the cultivators of the Sin domain many times. After returning, Lin Feng went into seclusion. Firstly, he wanted to consolidate his realm, and secondly, he wanted to cultivate the Primordial Immortal Sutra. The reason why he chose the Primordial Immortal Sutra was not without reason. Lin Feng thought of Huangfu Qingtian, who had previously obtained a part of Immortal Pangu's orthodoxy. If he obtained the Primordial Immortal Sutra, he would definitely be able to suppress Huangfu Qingtian. Other than that, the Pangu Arcane Domain did not seem to have appeared yet. Theoretically speaking, if the Pangu Arcane Domain appeared, the greatest opportunity inside should belong to Huangfu Qingtian. But now that he had cultivated the Primordial Immortal Sutra, he could fight for the great opportunity in the Pangu Arcane Domain. No matter what, Pangu was the supreme expert of this era. The heaven-splitting axe that Pangu had left behind. That was an ancient weapon-level treasure. How tyrannical was its power? Just thinking about it gave people a feeling of fear and trepidation. Moreover, there might be many treasures in the Pangu Arcane Domain that could increase one's cultivation. Huangfu Qingtian was waiting to get the Pangu Arcane Domain and then make a counterattack. If he really got the Pangu Arcane Domain, perhaps he could really make a counterattack. The Primordial Immortal Sutra was very difficult to cultivate. Although such a top-level Immortal Sutra was difficult to cultivate, if it was successfully cultivated, it would be of great benefit to the improvement of one's battle strength. Lin Feng went into seclusion in time and space for 3 years before coming out of seclusion. He had gained a lot. In addition to the several Immortal Sutras that he had just obtained, Lin Feng also consolidated his cultivation. After resting for a few days, Lin Feng planned to enter the Divine Tao Immortal Palace to see what was inside. Now he could enter the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Lin Feng was naturally very satisfied with the things in the first few levels of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, so he was looking forward to seeing what was in the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Lin Feng entered the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. He went directly to the 6th level. Lin Feng broke the restrictions of the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace and entered the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. After entering the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace, Lin Feng discovered that there was a black box in the 6th level of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. Lin Feng walked over. He picked up the black box and looked around, but he couldn't see anything special about it. Lin Feng then opened the black box, but it was empty. There didn't seem to be anything special about it. This made Lin Feng extremely puzzled. He didn't know what the black box was. Could it be a top-level immortal treasure? Demon Lord, take a look. Do you recognize this thing? Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord glanced at it, then shook his head and said, I don't recognize it. This is the first time I've seen something like this. Lin Feng stroked his chin. This was really an extremely strange thing. Even the experienced and knowledgeable Demon Lord didn't recognize it, so he didn't know what it was. Just as Lin Feng was feeling puzzled, a voice suddenly resounded in Lin Feng's mind. I know what this thing is. This voice belonged to the great immortal sage Martin. P.S. First update. Brothers, the new book, Devouring the Heavens, is currently in the book city. It's very important. Everyone, read it on QQ or bookmark it on the QQ Reading Center on your phone. Devouring the Heavens is also very good. Thank you, brothers. Mobile version of the reading website, M. Chapter 55:30. What's that? Lin Feng asked. It's called a space-time treasure box. Space-time treasure box? A treasure box that can travel through space-time? Lin Feng asked. That's right. The Martin nodded. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. What was space-time? Time was time. Space was space. Space-time. It referred to a world where time and space intersected. What was a world where time and space intersected? To put it simply, the past, the present, and the future. These were 3 different time points in different space-time. Theoretically speaking, a space-time treasure box should be able to allow a cultivator to travel through the past, present, and future. However, that was only a theory. This was because traveling between different space-times was simply too unbelievable. It was hard to believe. Lin Feng asked, can a space-time treasure box really allow a cultivator to travel through different space-time? The Martin replied, I'm not too sure about that. Although I've seen a space-time treasure box before, I've never seen anyone activate it. However, later on, I heard a few things about the space-time treasure box. What are the details? Lin Feng asked. The Martin continued, it said that the space-time treasure box really does have this ability. It can allow a cultivator to travel through different space-time. However, I don't know if it's because it's too heaven-defying, but it was damaged. Lin Feng carefully inspected the space-time treasure box, but he did not see any damage. Lin Feng said, the space-time treasure box isn't damaged. Everything looks perfect. The Martin continued, take a closer look and see if some of the runes have been erased. Lin Feng carefully inspected the box, and he quickly discovered something special. There should have been some runes on the space-time treasure box, but they had disappeared. He could vaguely make out some traces of the runes. If that was the case, the space-time treasure box was indeed damaged. Lin Feng frowned. Let's not talk about whether the space-time treasure box could really allow people to travel to the past, present, and future. Given the current state of the space-time treasure box, it could no longer be activated. This was indeed a pity. Lin Feng asked, do you have any restoration techniques? The Sage Martin shook his head and said, I don't know how to repair it, but the space-time box is a treasure that came from the wasteland. So I think that there might be a way to repair it in the wasteland. Lin Feng nodded. He put the space-time treasure box away, following which, Lin Feng walked out of the Divine Tao Immortal Palace. He summoned the Mirror of the Future and the Stone Scripture. The Mirror of Power was sealed, and the Stone Scripture could help the Mirror of the Future undo the seal. Lin Feng decided to give it a try. 3 days later, a portion of the Mirror of the Future seals had been undone by the Stone Scripture, but there were still many more profound seals that Lin Feng couldn't use the Stone Scripture to undo. He would have to wait for a while. Ha 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 ha. The feeling of undoing seals is so great. Even if I can only undo a portion of the seals, I still feel so good. The god of the future realm laughed excitedly. Lin Feng said, by comprehending the changes of the future and seeing into the future, the mirror of the future. since you've already undone a portion of the seals, you should be able to see a few things in the future. The mirror of the future said, yes, I can already see a few things in the future. However, peeking into the future is considered peeking into heaven's secrets. Generally speaking, doing this will cause you to suffer the wrath of the heavens. Therefore, for now, I need to cultivate for a period of time every time I peek into the future. It can take as little as half a year or as long as a year. Of course, if you can undo more seals for me, my strength to resist the wrath of the heavens will increase greatly. At that time, the amount of time I need to rest will be greatly reduced. Lin Feng said, don't worry, I'll gradually undo the seals on your body. However, don't be too anxious. Right now, you can see some things that might happen to me in the future. It's best if we can avoid disaster. No problem. The mirror of the future said. As soon as it finished speaking, the mirror of the future shot out a ray of light that shone on Lin Feng's body. The mirror of the future could peek into the future, but it also needed to rely on a cultivator's aura or some keepsake. Otherwise, it naturally wouldn't be able to peek into the future. In fact, Lin Feng also had the ability to predict the future. This was because Lin Feng's bloodline of destiny had given Lin Feng this ability when it had awakened for the third time. However, Lin Feng wouldn't do this. This ability was simply too heaven-defying. If he went against the heavens, he was destined to meet with a bad end. Moreover, Lin Feng still had the mirror of the future. If he wanted to predict some things, he could just let the mirror of the future do it. Lin Feng wasn't willing to expose himself to danger. At that moment, Lin Feng suddenly saw some blurry images. It seemed to be an altar. On the altar, there was a stone statue enshrined. The stone statue emitted an incomparably evil aura. A group of people was worshipping the stone statue. The person in the lead. It was the great demon Yu. Lin Feng didn't expect to see the great demon Yu here. This woman was the great demon realm's younger sister. The great demon realm was an ambitious person. Back then, she'd stirred up chaos in order to become the Era Lord. When the Great War broke out, countless people died. There were even countless titled gods. They also fell because of this. However, they still couldn't destroy the great demon realm. After countless years, had the great demon realm finally broken out of the seal? Lin Feng felt that perhaps she had really come out. Or else, why was the great demon Yu worshipping the great demon realm statue? Suddenly, the stone statue opened its eyes. Those eyes were incomparably evil, incomparably sinister, and incomparably terrifying. They were like the eyes of the Grim Reaper. The great demon realm statue said, unify the demon realm. Find the demon lord token. I believe you should know how to find it. Yes. The great demon Yu hurriedly replied. Next, all the images disappeared. Damn, the great demon realm has broken free, and she wants to unify the demon realm. The demon lord token is with me. In other words, the great demon Yu will come to deal with me? Lin Feng's expression was a bit gloomy. Originally, Lin Feng and the great demon Yu were enemies. However, too many things had happened in between, and they hadn't completely gone against each other. But now, it was different. The great demon Yu, she would definitely come to deal with him. This woman, she was a demoness who killed without batting an eyelid. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. Chapter 55-31. After the great demon Yu came into being, her cultivation recovered very quickly, but it was unknown to what extent she had recovered. But no matter what level she had recovered, Lin Feng was not afraid of her. But facing her, Lin Feng's emotions were somewhat complicated. Back then, in the Dead Souls prison, he and the great demon Yu fought against the Dead Souls prison lord together, but both of them were trapped and suppressed by the curse power. Later, Lin Feng directly pounced on the great demon Yu. Originally, Lin Feng wanted to have a good time before he died. Who would have thought that after galloping, the two of them would be resolved? After that, Lin Feng's interactions with the great demon Yu lessened. The great demon Yu. Because of this, she lost her virginity. She naturally wanted to kill Lin Feng. For the great demon Yu, this was clearly a more suitable opportunity. Lin Feng naturally would not sit still and wait for death. If the great demon Yu dared to come, he would definitely make her suffer. But what Lin Feng was truly worried about was the moon god. Lin Feng's news was still relatively fast. The great demon Yu and the moon god had already formed an alliance, so the great demon Yu's power and the moon god's power had already merged into one. He did not know if the moon god would help the great demon Yu. If the moon god helped the great demon Yu, then it would be a little troublesome. After all, the moon god was the junior sister of his ancestor, the master of gods, and she had been out for so long. In such a long time, who knew if the moon god had already recovered to her peak? If she recovered to her peak state, then joining forces with the great demon Yu would be a troublesome matter. Lin Feng planned to set up some arrays first. When the time came, if the great demon Yu came alone, she would definitely be trapped by the arrays. If she came with the moon god, at that time, he might even be able to capture the moon god. If he captured the moon god, he would make her kneel on the ground and sing. Thinking of this, Lin Feng immediately revealed a smile. Lin Feng immediately began to set up arrays in his courtyard. Two ladies flew over from the northwest of Xin Domain. It was a woman dressed in black. Her figure was extremely hot, and she had a face that could charm all living things. With just one look, one would be deeply mesmerized by that face. The woman with the fiery figure was none other than the great demon Yu. As for the other person, she wore a silver-white dress. She was as cold as the moon, like a fairy from the moon palace. She was also very beautiful. Her beauty was otherworldly. This woman was none other than Yueshan. Lin Feng had guessed correctly. The moon god and the great demon Yu had come together. I never thought that you would accept my invitation. I remember that Lin Feng's ancestor, the master of gods, was your senior brother, right? Moreover, you seem to have liked the master of gods, but he liked another woman, so your love turned to hatred and you fell into the path of demons. However, you were able to control the demons in your heart, so they didn't take control of your body. This time, you came with me to deal with Lin Feng. That doesn't seem like your style, does it? I think that even if it's for the sake of the master of gods, you won't deal with Lin Feng. Tell me why you want to deal with Lin Feng, said the great demon Yu. She was a cautious person. Even though she was in an alliance with the moon god, she didn't completely trust the moon god. The great demon Yu was puzzled by the moon god's goal. Originally, I didn't want to kill him, said the moon god. But now, I've changed my mind. The great demon Yu asked in surprise, why? I encountered a small problem in my cultivation, said the moon god. Oh, a small problem in your cultivation? Let me think about it. What's wrong? The great demon Yu smiled. She quickly guessed the reason and said, it seems that the master of gods has become an obsession in your heart, or perhaps a demon. You can't kill the master of gods now, so you want to kill Lin Feng and use his blood to remove the demon in your heart. You're very smart, said the moon god. At their level, there were many things that could be said frankly and unfairly. There was no need to be secretive, said the great demon Yu. Lin Feng is Lin Feng, and the leader of gods is the leader of gods. If you kill Lin Feng, it won't help you, said the great demon Yu. It's hard to say whether or not it'll be of any help. We'll only know after killing him. As expected, acquaintances like to trick acquaintances. The great demon Yu laughed. You seem to be more familiar with him. After all, the two of you have already done everything, haven't you? Said the moon god. The great demon Yu's gaze turned cold. Do you know what you're saying? What? Do you still value your chastity that much? Said the moon god calmly. Humph. The great demon Yu snorted coldly. She didn't say anything else, nor did she ask how the moon god knew about this. The great demon Yu sped up and flew in the direction of Sin City. Hatred can make a person stronger. The moon god smiled coldly. She sped up and chased after the great demon Yu. I'm finally done. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh in relief. Setting up the formation had cost him a lot of precious materials, and Lin Feng's formation was extremely terrifying. He just had to wait for the great demon Yu to come. After setting up the formation, Lin Feng sent the servants away to avoid harming the innocent. Half a month later, the great demon Yu and the moon god arrived in Sin City. Sin City was very lively. Compared to the previous lifeless atmosphere, it was like a completely different world. Lin Feng is quite capable. He can turn Sin City into such a peaceful place. He's probably loved and respected here, said the great demon Yu. The great demon Yu smiled. Said the moon god mockingly. What? You're soft-hearted? You can't bear to kill him? Said the great demon Yu. I didn't say that. I'm a demoness. Do you know what a demoness is? A demoness is cruel and merciless. Once she decides on something, she won't change her mind. So, I still have to kill him. Said the moon god. There's an old bastard here who's very strong. We have to be on guard against him. Said the great demon Yu. Are you talking about Lin Feng's ancestor? I've already investigated him. He's in a life-and-death situation. How could he have time to pay attention to Lin Feng? So, this is the best time for us to attack. Of course, there are still many experts here, so we have to be careful. Let's rest for now and wait until late at night before attacking. We'll kill him without anyone knowing. P.S. Third update. Has anyone collected my new book, Devouring the Heavens? If you haven't, please do so. Old Mantu thanks everyone. Please remember the domain name of the book, mobile version of the book. Chapter 55-32. Lin Feng had gotten the mirror of the present. Of the three mirrors, the mirror of the present was the most powerful. The mirror of the present had some of the abilities of the mirror of the past and mirror of the future, such as peeking into the future. However, due to a clerical error, the mirror of the present had been written as the mirror of the future. Late at night, Lin Feng opened his eyes. She's here. He couldn't help but mutter to himself. Lin Feng quickly got up. He walked outside. When he arrived at the courtyard outside, Lin Feng saw two people standing in the courtyard. They were two women. They were so beautiful that they could take one's breath away. One of them was the great demon Yu, while the other was the moon goddess. It was only natural that the great demon Yu would come. The mirror of the present had already peeked into this matter. Lin Feng guessed that the moon goddess might come as well. However, when Lin Feng saw the moon goddess coming over, he was shocked. In truth, he was still a little surprised. Two beauties visiting so late at night? Could it be that you're feeling lonely and want to have a good show with me? Lin Feng smiled at the two. Shameless. The great demon Yu and the moon goddess were very serious women. When they heard Lin Feng's teasing, they immediately became angry. Normally, who would dare to be so impudent to them? Unless they didn't want to live anymore. However, Lin Feng dared to do so. The great demon Yu and the moon goddess naturally wouldn't give Lin Feng any face. The great demon Yu said, Lin Feng, you have the Devil Master Medallion, right? Lin Feng nodded and said, Yes, it's with me. Heh, it's good that you admit it. Now, hand over the Devil Master Medallion obediently. I can give you a quick and painless death, otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. The great demon Yu said coldly. Lin Feng said, No matter what, we've had a good time together. Why are you so cruel? Bastard. What nonsense are you spouting? The great demon Yu angrily glared at Lin Feng. Although she looked very charming on the outside, she was actually a rather conservative woman. There were some things that he could talk about with the moon god in private, but he did not have the courage to talk about them in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng said, What did I say? Don't you know? I'll kill you, shouted the great Mo Yu furiously. He jumped up and threw himself at Lin Feng. Great Mo Yu, when I catch you, I'll show you how strong I am, Lin Feng said. The great demon Yu didn't know what to think, but after hearing Lin Feng's words, her pretty face turned red. His body was also slightly weak. However, her determination was firm. She gritted her teeth and continued to charge towards Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng waved his hand, and runes interwove in the air. Lin Feng's formation was activated, and the great demon Yu was stopped by Lin Feng's formation. Wanting to quickly break through the formation and reach Lin Feng was extremely unrealistic. The moon goddess frowned and said, Could it be that this guy already knew we were coming, so he set up a grand formation in advance? The great demon Yu said, Our movements were so secretive. How could he have known beforehand? He's very cautious, so it's possible that he set up a formation in advance just in case. However, since he encountered us today, his formation will definitely be destroyed. The moon god couldn't help but nod. She looked at Lin Feng and said, "Today, you won't be able to escape even if you grow wings. So, your resistance is nothing more than a desperate struggle." Lin Feng said, "Moon god, no matter what, we have some history. In fact, I don't really want to oppose you completely, but you're too overbearing. Since that's the case, I'm afraid that today's battle is unavoidable. Don't worry. Since you're the master of gods, I can spare your life, but I'll make you my slave." Just thinking about the high and mighty moon god wearing a maid outfit and kneeling before me and calling me master makes my blood boil. Pervert. The great demon you couldn't help but curse. She didn't know why, but when she learned that Lin Feng was spying on the moon god, she felt extremely uncomfortable. "Thank you for the compliment. When the time comes, you can come too. I'm very interested in training you into the most obedient slaves." Lin Feng smiled. "You're courting death." The moon god was a high and mighty existence. How could she listen to such filthy words? She couldn't help but shout coldly and directly attack Lin Feng. At that moment, a powerful restriction shot toward the moon god. The moon god didn't dodge. She directly faced the restrictions head-on. The moon god was indeed strong enough. Facing the attacks of the restrictions, she was completely unharmed. The great demon Yu also attacked, fighting against Lin Feng's great formation with the moon god. The moon god sneered, "Your great formation is quite powerful, but if you want to trap us, you're dreaming. We'll break it very quickly. Then, let's see how you'll die." Lin Feng said, "Moon god, it's too early for you to be proud. Today, I'll let you know how strong I am." As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Feng waved his hand and the Book of the Dead flew out. Then, Lin Feng summoned all 56 Saint Realm Undead. 56 Saint Realm Undead were terrifying existences. After they appeared, the moon god and the great demon Yu's expressions became extremely unsightly. They had already felt the terror of the 56 undead. They were all Saint Realm Undead. It was too inconceivable. How is this possible? The great demon Yu shouted in disbelief. She had a rough idea of Lin Feng's strength. The most terrifying undead in Sin City was Lin Feng's ancestor. But Lin Feng's ancestor was in seclusion and couldn't come out. Naturally, he couldn't help Lin Feng. But Lin Feng had actually summoned 56 Saint Realm Undead. The great demon Yu's strength had already recovered to about 70 to 80% of her peak. She was roughly equivalent to a high-level Saint Realm expert. But even if her cultivation had recovered to such a terrifying level, against Lin Feng's undead, it was still like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. "Let's go." The moon god's expression wasn't good either. She was very decisive and wanted to quickly leave this place. The moon god and the great demon Yu rushed outside. They wanted to forcibly tear apart the formation and escape. Lin Feng sneered. Once they entered his formation, how could it be so easy to escape? Under Lin Feng's command, the 56 undead flew directly into the formation's core. 56 undead activated the formation together, and the formation's power was immediately activated. Two terrifying beams of light tore through the sky and shot towards the moon god and the great demon Yu. Please remember the domain name of this book. Chapter 55-33. Facing such a terrifying attack, the great demon Yu and the moon goddess didn't dare to be careless. They both moved to block the attack. Bang! Bang! Two consecutive violent collisions rang out. The great demon Yu and the moon goddess blocked the light beam that had just attacked them, but they were also sent flying. Lin Feng waved his hand. The formation intertwined. Black fog rolled. The great demon Yu and the moon goddess were immediately separated by Lin Feng's formation. This time, they could only fight alone. Damn it! The great demon Yu and the moon goddess's expressions were somewhat unsightly. They knew that Lin Feng's formation skills were profound. However, if it weren't for the 56 saint-level undead supporting the formation, the two of them believed that it would be very easy for them to break the formation. However, the formation was supported by 56 saint-level undead. This was troublesome. Although they were proud, they weren't arrogant. Now that they were separated, the situation would be even worse. Boom, boom, boom. All kinds of terrifying attacks bombarded the great demon Yu and the moon goddess. The two of them also used all kinds of methods. They wanted to neutralize Lin Feng's formation's attack. However, the formation was really too powerful. They were completely suppressed. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Are you ready to be my maid? Are you ready to wear maid attire?" How noble were the great demon Yu and the moon goddess. If they were to wear maid outfits, it would be worse than killing them. Of course, the great demon Yu was slightly less angry than the moon goddess about wearing maid attire. After all, the moon goddess was still a virgin. She was pure and flawless. How could she wear maid attire in front of Lin Feng? This was something she couldn't imagine and absolutely wouldn't do. The great demon Yu was now a young woman. Too many things had happened between her and Lin Feng. Although she couldn't accept wearing maid attire in front of Lin Feng, her reaction wasn't as big as the moon goddess's. Lin Feng, your ancestor, the master of gods, was an extraordinary person. He was a peerless hero and admired by countless people. However, look at yourself. You're simply a despicable, shameless, and despicable person. Do you think you're worthy of your ancestor? Do you think you're a disgrace to your ancestor? If you think you're worthy of your ancestor, you should let us go instead of saying such filthy things to us. The moon goddess. Lin Feng was speechless. He looked at the moon god and said, "I don't care about being a peerless hero. I just want to live a wonderful life. Besides, you two women wanted to kill me, and now you're saying that I'm sorry for my ancestors? Is there something wrong with your head? How dare you say something so shameless?" Even I felt embarrassed after hearing it. I didn't expect you to be such a shameless person, moon god. The moon goddess almost coughed up blood when she heard Lin Feng. She was a woman. Was the word shameless suitable to describe a woman? The moon goddess felt that Lin Feng was truly uncultured. Lin Feng increased the intensity of his attacks. The attacks released by the array were getting stronger and stronger. The great demon Yu and the moon goddess found it harder and harder to resist. The two of them were in an extremely sorry state. Capture them. It seemed like it was only a matter of time. Could he really make the great demon Yu and the moon goddess his maidservants? Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. Thinking back, the great demon Yu and the moon goddess were terrifying existences. He needed to look up to them. Now, however, it was possible for him to become their master. This was something that made him extremely excited. Lin Feng, how about we both take a step back? The great demon Yu said, "Take a step back? Do you think I'm stupid? I have the upper hand now. Why should I take a step back?" Lin Feng sneered. The great demon Yu said, "Because my elder brother, the great demon Sky, has come into being. You should have heard of how terrifying the great demon Sky is, right? Even if existences like Pangu and Yuhua come back to life, they won't be a match for my elder brother. If you insist on dealing with me, you'll have to bear the great demon Sky's wrath. However, if you give me the Demon Lord Medallion, not only will you not offend him, you'll even establish a friendship with us. At that time, it'll be of great help to you." When Lin Feng heard that, he smiled icily. "Your brother, Great Emotion, is extremely strong, but I think he just escaped and is still recovering, so he can't pose a threat to me, right? Once he recovers, I might have the strength to kill him. So, what do I have to be afraid of?" You. The great demon Yu's face turned ashen when she saw Lin Feng's insatiable attitude. She could only try her best to break through. The great demon Yu was clearly weaker than the moon goddess. Of course, it was also possible that her recovery wasn't as good as the moon goddess. Thus, the great demon Yu's situation was worse. Bang! A bolt of lightning swept towards the great demon Yu and sent her flying. At this time, many black chains appeared in the void. These were also chains formed by the formation. These black chains directly coiled towards Great Demon Yu. The Great Demon Yu had just been sent flying by the lightning, so it was too late for her to dodge the chains. The black chains wrapped around Great Demon Yu's body. The Great Demon Yu could no longer struggle. The moon goddess's expression turned ugly when she saw the Great Demon Yu being captured. After the Great Demon Yu was captured, Lin Feng began to focus on the moon goddess. The moon goddess knew that she wouldn't be able to hold on much longer under the attacks of the formation. Thus, she bit her lip. It seemed that she was about to use some sort of ultimate technique. Lin Feng's expression sank when he saw the moon goddess's expression. All sorts of powerful and terrifying attacks bombarded the moon goddess. However, at that moment, a moon flew out from the moon goddess's body and fused with it. The moon had blocked all the attacks. Then, she quickly rushed outside. Lin Feng wanted to use the formation to trap the moon goddess, but the sun she had transformed into was too terrifying. It broke through the formation. Then, she tore through the sky and disappeared. Outside the city of Sin, the sky trembled slightly. The moon goddess appeared. Ugh! The moon goddess spat out a mouthful of blood. Her face was as pale as paper. She didn't know what kind of ultimate technique the moon goddess had just used, but it was obviously very harmful to her. Lin Feng, just you wait. I won't let you off. The moon goddess said hatefully. She turned her head and glanced in the direction of the city of Sin, then quickly left through the void. Old Mantu's new book, Devouring the Heavens, has anyone collected it? It's very good. Brothers, go collect it. Please remember the domain name of the book. Chapter 55-34. Seeing Moon Goddess escape, Lin Feng's expression turned gloomy. He had thought that he would be able to capture Moon Goddess, but it had all been for naught. Lin Feng felt that it was a pity. It wouldn't be so easy to capture Moon Goddess next time. However, Moon Goddess was powerful, and her escape was beyond Lin Feng's control. Lin Feng looked at Great Demon Yu. At this moment, the Great Demon Yu's face was extremely pale. The moon god had escaped, but she was trapped here. Things were going to be troublesome now. Thinking about how she would soon become Lin Feng's slave, Great Demon Yu's body trembled. An unprecedented feeling of humiliation welled up in her heart. Lin Feng said, Great Demon Yu, it seems that your relationship with Moon Goddess is only an alliance of interests. Moon Goddess has escaped, and she doesn't care about your life or death. How do you feel now? Great Demon Yu said, Lin Feng, there's no need for us to fight to the death, right? Lin Feng said, Huh? What? What are you trying to say now? As long as you let me go, I can do anything for you. You can also leave the matter of forming an alliance with my brother, Great Demon Sky. Don't worry. As long as you become an ally with my brother, I will definitely persuade him to help you become the ruler of the undying world. I can even help you become the ruler of the celestial world. Great Demon Yu began to tempt him. This woman was full of cunning. What she said now was naturally very tempting. However, Lin Feng was unmoved. Great Demon Yu's words couldn't be trusted, even if she was speaking from the bottom of her heart. Lin Feng didn't intend to let Great Demon Yu go. After all, Great Demon Yu couldn't possibly become the ruler of Great Demon Sky. Great Demon Sky was an ambitious and ruthless person. Would he listen to Great Demon Yu? In any case, Lin Feng didn't think that Great Demon Sky would listen to Lin Feng. Great Demon Yu, don't waste your breath. Even though the moon goddess ran away, I'll go and catch her later. As for you, I'm going to officially launch my evil maid plan. Lin Feng laughed. He quickly flew to the moon god's side and sealed her mana, following which, Lin Feng removed the array and sent the 56 Sage Realm undead into the Book of the Dead. Then, he put the Book of the Dead away. The Great Demon Yu's expression was uncertain. Before she came, she was full of confidence. After all, her powers had recovered quite well, and with the moon god, who was even more powerful than her, dealing with Lin Feng would be a piece of cake. But what was the actual result? However, it was completely different from what he had imagined. The Great Demon Yu's heart was in complete chaos. What to do? What to do? What to do? The Great Demon Yu had been asking himself questions and looking for a solution, but now he had become a prisoner. There was simply no way to think of a countermeasure. Lin Feng pinched the Great Demon Yu's snow-white chin. What an exquisite face! Her face was so beautiful that it was suffocating. Lin Feng looked at the Great Demon Yu and smiled. Now that you're about to become my slave, how do you feel? The Great Demon Yu knew that she couldn't escape from Lin Feng's grasp. She clenched her teeth and said, Kill me? Kill you? Lin Feng shook his head. Do you think I'd be willing to do that? I'm someone who has tender feelings for the fairer sex. It's been a long time since we last met, and today's moonlight is really beautiful. As the saying goes, a single moment of spring is worth 1,000 gold. Let's not waste this beautiful scenery. No, you can't do this to me. The great demon you could guess what Lin Feng was thinking, and she looked at Lin Feng in horror. Ha ha ha. Lin Feng laughed loudly and said, I love seeing you scared. The great demon you, the great demon Sky's younger sister, the world-shaking demoness, is actually scared. How interesting. It was indeed a beautiful moonlight. Faint moonlight sprinkled down, as if covering the earth with a layer of silver gauze. The next day, Lin Feng ordered someone to buy a maid's outfit, and the great demon you put it on. It had to be said that the great demon Yu's sexy figure could take a man's life in a maid's outfit. For a period of time after that, Lin Feng began to properly train the great demon Yu. How noble was the great demon Yu! It was so sullen that she wanted to die. However, as time passed, the great demon Yu went from resisting to being obedient. Master, Du Zhu is here to see you. The great demon Yu said Lin Feng. Let the poison ancestor come in, said Lin Feng.
Yes.
The great demon Yu nodded and then invited Du Zhu in. Du Zhu smiled and said, You really know how to enjoy life, hanging out with the great demon Yu every day. I heard that Hong Yu and the others are jealous. Find an opportunity to pamper them. Lin Feng smiled calmly. He then asked, Do you have any business with me? Du Zhu said, I've received some news that the Pango Arcane Dimension is about to appear. Oh? The Pango Arcane Dimension is about to appear? Where did you get this news? Lin Feng asked in surprise. Some people obtained the items left behind by Pangu. Now, the items left behind by Pangu are starting to move, so some people are speculating that the Pangu Arcane Dimension is about to appear. Du Zhu said, That's great. Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. The Pangu Arcane Dimension was finally about to appear. The Pangu Arcane Dimension was one of the top arcane dimensions, so it was only natural that countless people would go crazy for it. Whether Huangfu Qingtian could soar to the top or not depended on whether he could get the opportunities in the Pangu Mystery Dimension after it appeared. Lin Feng planned to stop Huangfu Qingtian and steal the treasures from him. So what if you're the first successor of Pangu? The treasures that were supposed to belong to you will belong to me in the end. Keep an eye on this matter, Lin Feng said. Du Zhu nodded and said, I've already sent people to keep an eye on this matter. If the Pango Arcane Dimension appears, we'll be the first to receive news. All right, Lin Feng nodded. Du Zhu then left. Pango was a powerful person, and the things he left behind were terrifying. Huangfu Qingtian has great luck. If he inherits the Pangu Arcane Dimension, he'll definitely have accumulated a lot of strength. At that time, even you won't be able to suppress him. His rise will be unstoppable. The great demon you said. Lin Feng smiled. Don't worry, Huangfu Qingtian won't rise because I'm going to steal the treasures that originally belonged to him. Then, Lin Feng took out a piece of silk. Lin Feng had been studying this piece of silk. This piece of silk recorded the whereabouts of the Emperor Brush. Lin Feng had obtained this piece of silk many years ago. He hadn't been able to discover the secret of this piece of silk. However, he had made great progress recently. Lin Feng felt that he was about to solve the secret of this piece of silk. First update, I am late to update. The child's injection took up a lot of time. I hope everyone can forgive me. It's not easy being a parent. Chapter 55-35. 3 days later, Lin Feng had unraveled the secret of the silk. It was recorded in the silk. The Emperor Brush was located in the Demon Emperor Ridge. However, the exact location of the Demon Emperor Ridge was not recorded. Demon Lord, where is the Demon Emperor Ridge? Lin Feng asked. It is in the Divine Heaven Domain. Head southeast from the Sin Domain, and you will reach the Divine Heaven Domain after crossing 3 domains. The Demon Lord said. Lin Feng nodded. Since he knew the whereabouts of the Emperor Brush, Lin Feng planned to search for it. The Emperor Brush was a treasure forged by 9 generations of human emperors. It was a sacred item of the human race. This treasure was of great significance to the human race. Lin Feng planned to rest for a few days before searching for the emperor brush. A few days later, Lin Feng was also able to relax for half a day. Lin Feng wondered if he could have sex with Hong Yu, and the great demon Yu. The great demon Yu did not dare to reject Lin Feng. She could not reject him. However, Hong Yu was shy. Sorry. Lin Feng did not force her. When he brought the women of the 9 prefectures to the undying world, he would sleep with them. This was definitely the dream of countless men. After resting for a few days, Lin Feng headed for the divine heaven domain. This time, Lin Feng did not bring anyone. He set off alone. If everything went smoothly, he would be back soon. The Xinyuan ancient starship had been repaired. Lin Feng boarded it. The Xinyuan ancient starship leaped through the void. For months later, Lin Feng finally arrived at the divine heaven domain. The Xinyuan ancient starship flew directly to the Demon Emperor Ridge. The Demon Emperor City was one of the oldest cities in the divine heaven domain. It was bustling with people. After traveling for a long time, Lin Feng was exhausted. He planned to rest well in the Demon Emperor City. After arriving at the Demon Emperor City, Lin Feng found out. So this Demon Imperial City was built by the heavenly Demon Emperor. This greatly surprised Lin Feng. One of Lin Feng's greatest enemies in his early years was the son of the Sky Demon Emperor. Lin Feng's black God-eater fire was something he had obtained from killing the Sky Demon Emperor's son. The son of the Sky Demon Emperor was the only son of the Sky Demon Emperor. Now that he had been killed by Lin Feng, the Sky Demon Emperor's bloodline had ended. Lin Feng didn't have a good impression of the Heavenly Demon King. In the past, the Heavenly Demon King once ruled over the world. But this Heavenly Demon Emperor had evil intentions. Their relationship with the foreign creatures was close, suppressing the human race. Many human experts had died at the hands of the Sky Demon Emperor. However, Sky Demon King couldn't escape death in the end. Lin Feng wasn't too sure how he died. There were various versions of the Heavenly Demon King's death, but none of them were true. Lin Feng didn't know. On this day, Lin Feng was resting in the courtyard when he suddenly heard the pleasant sound of a zither coming from afar. Lin Feng opened the courtyard door and looked into the distance. He saw many people sitting cross-legged on the grass. There were men and women, all of them listening to the zither. The person playing the zither was a beautiful woman. When he saw the beautiful woman, a piece of memory in the depths of Lin Feng's memory gradually unfolded. Enziru. It turned out to be this woman. Back then, this woman had appeared by his side and tested his strength. Lin Feng later asked someone to investigate Enziru. However, the results were extremely shocking. It turned out that Enziru was actually someone by Huang Fu Qingtian's mother's side. Huang Fu Qingtian's mother was rather mysterious, and Lin Feng didn't know much about her. He only knew that his mother was the princess of the Yuhua immortal dynasty. When she was sleeping, she had a heaven-man connection and got pregnant. Later on, Huang Fu Qingtian was born. What an incredible thing. But all of this was true. Therefore, Huang Fu Qingtian had always called himself the son of heaven. When the Yuhua immortal dynasty was destroyed, Huang Fu Qingtian's mother left in advance, so Lin Feng didn't see her. But Lin Feng knew. Huang Fu Qingtian's mother was definitely a powerful existence. Back then, Huang Fu Qingtian was killed by him. It was his mother who used the soul reconstruction technique to create a new soul for Huang Fu Qingtian's body. Huang Fu Qingtian was reborn in another way. Now, nearly 200 years had passed, and the world of cultivators had entered the last golden age of cultivation. Huang Fu Qingtian's mother must be even more terrifying, right? Lin Feng didn't show up, but secretly observed Enziru. Lin Feng felt that the situation seemed to be a bit strange. Why did Enziru come here? This woman was the confidant of Huang Fu Qingtian's mother. Generally speaking, she wouldn't leave Huang Fu Qingtian's mother easily. If she left Huang Fu Qingtian's mother, it was basically for some extremely important matters. Therefore, there were 2 reasons for Enziru's appearance here. The first reason, Huang Fu Qingtian's mother was also here. The second reason, she came out to carry out a certain mission. Lin Feng quickly ruled out the first reason. It was very easy to rule out the first reason. Because, if Huang Fu Qingtian's mother was here, would Enziru be worshipped like a moon surrounded by stars? Obviously not. If Huang Fu Qingtian's mother was here, and Xiru would probably keep a very low profile. This was the reason why Lin Feng ruled out the first reason. Then, there was only the second possibility left, which was that Xiru was actually here to carry out a certain mission. What kind of mission was it? Lin Feng didn't know for now. Late at night, Xiru opened her eyes. Who is it? She looked coldly at the figure in front of her. Xiru was a cautious person. Usually, she would keep her sword by her side. Therefore, she picked up her sword and stabbed at the figure. Clang! The figure flicked his finger. The sword was immediately bounced away. A voice was heard. Old acquaintances meet. Why do you have to draw your sword against each other? As soon as the voice faded away, the extinguished oil lamp was reignited. Xiru looked at the person who appeared in the room. Her expression couldn't help but change slightly. Xiru hadn't seen Lin Feng for many years. However, even after so many years, Lin Feng's appearance still hadn't changed. Therefore, Xiru recognized Lin Feng at a glance. Xiru had naturally heard many things about Lin Feng from Huangfu Qingtian. She also knew that Huangfu Qingtian's greatest wish in life was to kill Lin Feng with his own hands. However, Xiru didn't expect that she would actually see Lin Feng in the Divine Heaven domain. What was Lin Feng doing here? Xiru was puzzled. However, Xiru was a powerful woman. Although she was surprised by Lin Feng's appearance here, her face didn't show any unusual expression. She smiled coquettishly and said, "So it's Lin Gongzi. I thought it was some bad guy just now. You scared me out of my wits." Xiru obviously thought that Lin Feng didn't know her true identity. When she said this, she even reached out and patted her towering breasts. Please remember the domain name of this book. Chapter 55-36. Since Xiru wanted to play dumb, Lin Feng decided to let Xiru play dumb for a while longer. He wanted to see if he could get some information out of her. If he could not get any useful information out of her, it would not be too late to make a move on Xiru. Xiru would not be able to escape even if she had wings. Lin Feng laughed and said, "Today, I saw Big Sister and playing the zither. The trees were green, and your clothes were white as snow. Big Sister and is like a peerless fairy. You are too enchanting." Xiru laughed and said, "Lin Gongzi really knows how to talk. This servant is embarrassed by Lin Gongzi's praise. Since Lin Gongzi saw this servant, why didn't you greet this servant?" Lin Feng said, "Originally, I wanted to go up and greet you, but Big Sisterin was playing the zither. I did not have the heart to interrupt Big Sisterin, so I did not disturb Big Sisterin. Furthermore, I had some matters to attend to and just came back. I wanted to see Big Sisterin, but it is already late at night. My mind is filled with Big Sister Anne's image. Even though I know I might have offended Big Sisterin, but I still came. I hope Big Sisterin will forgive me." After hearing Lin Feng's words, Xiru could not help but think. From all the information she had, Lin Feng was a playboy. Who knew how many women he had provoked? Now that he was speaking so openly, could it be that he had some thoughts about her? Xiru was very confident in her appearance and figure. Of course, Xiru was indeed very enchanting. It was like a ripe peach. But Xiru and Lin Feng were enemies. Naturally, she could not have any special relationship with Lin Feng. Why don't I take advantage of this rare opportunity to get rid of him tonight? Xiru could not help but think. She knew that Lin Feng was an extremely terrifying person. If he was not terrifying, how could he suppress Huangfu Qingtian to the point that he could not raise his head? If he was not terrifying, how could he lead Sin Domain to rise again? Hence, Xiru had never underestimated Lin Feng. Although she never underestimated Lin Feng, Xiru understood men. Most of the time, men were more cautious and careful, especially those who were powerful. However, when they faced a woman, especially a woman of the highest quality, they had no choice but to accept it. Usually, he would be distracted. At this time, all his thoughts would be on how to get this woman. Vigilance will be at its lowest point. At this moment, it was time to deal with this man. Therefore, even heroes have a weakness for the charms of beautiful women. This sentence was very reasonable. Xiru felt that with her methods, she should be able to make Lin Feng fall head over heels for her. By the time Lin Feng lowered his guard, he had already calmed down. Then, He could kill Lin Feng in one fell swoop. It had to be said. And Zero's wishful thinking was extremely good. And Zero replied, "It's my honor to be remembered by you." Lin Feng smiled and asked, "How long has Big Sister been in the Undying Realm?" "About 150 years. And Zero said, "After Big Sister came here, did you join any forces?" "If not, I have a good place to go," Lin Feng said. And Zero immediately revealed an extremely moved expression and said, "I never thought that young master would actually think of me in all aspects. I am truly moved." Lin Feng said, "Who asked Big Sister to seem to live in my heart?" As Lin Feng spoke, he reached out and hugged Zero's slender waist. And Zero did not struggle. She allowed Lin Feng to hug her waist. Then, Zero sat on Lin Feng's lap. And Zero blushed and said, "After coming to the Undying Realm, it was difficult to survive, but fortunately, my luck was not bad, and I successfully became a disciple of an ancient immortal sect. From then on, my life became better." "Then it must have been hard on Big Sister," Lin Feng said. Actually, Lin Feng was sighing in his heart, and Zero's figure was really not bad. And Zero said, "The hard days are over." After pausing for a moment, and Zero continued, "I heard that young master established a great achievement in Sin Domain." "Oh? Has Big Sister heard about it too?" Lin Feng said with a smile. "Of course. Who in the Undying Realm doesn't know of young master's great name?" And Zero said. Lin Feng said, "Big Sister knows that I am in the Undying Realm, but she doesn't even look for me. That really makes me sad." And Zero said, "Young master, please don't blame me. I was just worried that a proud son of heaven like young master would definitely have many peerless beauties by his side. I was worried that if I went, young master would no longer like me, so I didn't dare to go." Lin Feng said, "Big Sister is so beautiful. How could I not like you? Young master's words have moved me greatly. Can you hug me? I really want young master to hug me tightly in your arms and feel the warmth of your body and the sound of your heartbeat." And Zero said sweetly. Her voice was laced with a charm technique. If an ordinary person heard Zero's voice, they would definitely be mesmerized. However, Lin Feng was still very clear-headed. Lin Feng knew that Zero was about to make a move. This stupid woman, did she really think that he would be fooled? Lin Feng fulfilled Zero's wish and hugged her. And Zero's jade-like hand stroked Lin Feng's back. Her face was leaning on Lin Feng's shoulder. Her eyes revealed a dense killing intent. And Zero wanted to break Lin Feng's spine. However, at that moment, Lin Feng grabbed Zero's wrist. He looked at Zero with a faint smile. "Aya, young master, you're hurting me." And Zero pretended to be ignorant. Lin Feng said, "Did I hurt you? I'm really sorry. But what did Big Sister want to do just now? I just felt the warmth of young master's embrace, so I don't know what young master is trying to say." And Zero looked very aggrieved. Lin Feng said, "I originally wanted to get information from you, but I didn't expect you to make the first move." "You? What do you mean by that?" And Zero could tell that something wasn't right, so she asked. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Big Sister don't you know Huangfu Qingtian?" And Zero said, "Of course I do. He just doesn't know me." Lin Feng said, "Is that so? Then I'll tell you another person. Do you know her?" "Who?" And Zero asked. "Does Big Sister know the woman who gave birth to Huangfu Qingtian during the Heavenman connection?" Lin Feng asked with a smile. And Zero's expression changed slightly. "You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.